4 Buck defenders going, yeah, only 4. One of them, safety John Lynch, making his 5th Pro Bowl appearance. 3 interceptions this year. Doesn't begin to explain this guy's worth to the defense. He once broke teammate Warren Sapp's hand making a tackle on somebody else. Just came in, hit the pile. Kid hits hard. You will hear it, feel it, and see it in soundtracks.
Come on! Let's go! Knock him out! Let's go! Let's go, baby! Come on! I'm Michael. Let's go. Let's go. We take the next step today. As physical as football game as we played all year right here, and they'll quit. Get a little bounce, fellas. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, Dexter, wind's going that way, so take a couple extra steps on deep balls.
Play action fake. Pete's got a lot of time. Throws for Smith. Caught it. Touchdown.
I actually thought that John Lynch was going to have a chance for interception.
Make a dang play on the ball. The wind caught that ball. I thought I had a pick. I went from thinking on that one I had to pick to, Come and get me, baby. I feel you. I'm feeling lonely for a second. You know, it's been a quiet game for us. Just stay with it, man. I got nothing going on either. But we're going to get our shot right here. We're going to get our shot. I got some assists.
Pete rolling to his right, throwing. Oh, it's batted down. John Lynch, the strong safety, got a paw on it. And he was reading those eyeballs of Rodney Pete.
Catch it. Oh, it got me right in the hands. But those things always, you have no idea where he's throwing. That play's still killing me down there. I got to make up for it.
Rodney Pete dropping the ball. Here comes Heat. Gets the ball away. It's intercepted by John Lynch at the 31-yard line. John Lynch said, that's my ball. This is my house. Give it to me.
What's up, baby? Here we go. Hey. Top of that division, baby. Let's go.
Hey, guys, you think Sean King will get an invite to John Lynch's golf tournament if they win tonight?
Yeah.
Are we going to John Lynch's golf tournament?
Yeah.
Sean, come play with us in John Lynch's golf tournament. Stay with us. We got a late report.
Football.
Yeah, football. That's American. We don't keep schedules and we don't eat tomatoes. Yeah, and every Monday night we pretty much ask the same question.
Which is, are you ready for some football?
Yes.
Yes, sir,
Very
Bob.
good.
Bring on the football.
'Tis the season in Tampa, Florida, and tonight both the Pittsburgh Steelers and the hometown Buccaneers are looking to spread some holiday cheer.
It's definitely better to give good kids, good tackle, give you more points, and go home.
We want to give the Bucs a lot of pain and a great big fat loss.
That would give Pittsburgh a division title, something Tampa Bay has already secured. But only tonight's winner will truly have a Merry Christmas.
Just here to have a beautiful Christmas day ourselves. And we're not worried about anybody else, whether that's selfish or not. It's up to you.
We don't want them to have a good Christmas. We want to be the Grinch that stole Christmas.
You can't ruin a man's Christmas if you come into his house. That's my house. You're in my house.
Merry Christmas, Warren.
Not here. You gotta love it.
Are you ready for some football? Put the pedal to the metal in somebody's spear. Tonight the NFL kicks it into high gear. No invitation needed. This party you can crash. The Steelers and Bucs throw a holiday bash. You better sit back, strap in and hold tight. It's always full throttle on Monday night. Come on and hit it. Come on and get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party. It's a Super Bowl season. We're gonna rock it.
is 64 degrees on Florida's Gulf Coast tonight. Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, and out onto the field come the champions of the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, ready to meet the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. Al Michaels, John Madden, Melissa Stark, welcome to Tampa. The Pittsburgh Steelers are this close to getting into the playoffs. Not there yet. With a win tonight or next week against Baltimore at home, they can clinch the AFC North, and we'll talk about the seeding possibilities during the game. Tampa Bay is already in the playoffs, but what a huge difference between being the first or second seed and the third seed. If they lose tonight, they're in jeopardy of being number 3, which would mean they'd have to play a wild card game here and then go through Green Bay or Philadelphia, and most likely both, to get to the Super Bowl. So they have to ratchet it up again tonight. And John, they'll have to do it without their quarterback, Brad Johnson. Bad back, contusion last week against Detroit, and Sean King gets his first start of the season.
Yeah, and that's big because Brad Johnson had been such a big part of this offense. He was injured at the end of last week's game, didn't practice all week. I watched him Saturday, and he said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play or not, but if I can make all the throws, I will play. It's going to be my decision. He made the decision tonight that he can't play. Although it's interesting, he's the third quarterback, and he said, if we need something in the fourth quarter, I'll come in the fourth quarter. Of course, now what's Sean King going to do? He hasn't played in 2 years, and even John Gruden said last night, he said, you know, he looks good in practice, and I think he's going to play well. He's never played for me, and he said, I'm going to be seeing it for the first time myself.
Well, Brad Johnson and all of the Bucs saw enough of Pittsburgh when the Steelers came here last year. They blitzed like crazy. They dominated the game. They won the game. Seeing blueprint tonight for the Steelers?
Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. You know, when you watch the Steelers, when they play the best, they're a tough team. And they play a very tough run game. And that's what they did against the Bucs last year. That's what they have to do tonight. And you know, when you talk about them last night, they were saying, we have to blitz Brad Johnson. We sacked him 10 times last year, and we have to do the same thing to him again. They didn't know he wasn't going to play, so I think they're going to take that same plan and just put it on Sean King.
We say it every week. Should be a great one tonight. One of these weeks is going to come true. I think it might be tonight. Bucs Steelers on Monday night. Tonight's ground stats are brought to you by FedEx.
There you go. Boom, boom.
You're right in the middle of the action. On Monday night, Tommy Maddox leading the Steelers against the great Tampa Bay D, led by Warren Sapp from Tampa on Monday night.
ABC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, leading receiver for the Tampa Bay Bucs, the former Jet, Keyshawn Johnson. He's with Melissa Stark. Melissa?
Hi, Al. Sean King making his first start in almost 2 years. Keyshawn, can the offense be as efficient, realistically, as it has been over the last 2 months with him at quarterback?
Last time I remember Sean King starting a Monday night game, we won the game against the Rams, and he had a hell of a football game, so I expect the same thing from him tonight.
Before the game, you had to break up a scuffle between Nate Webster and James Farrier. Warren Sapp and Jerome Bettis got into it. You guys aren't even division rivals, but is there a real hatred between these two teams?
You know, I don't know what went on. I came out of the locker room and I just seen one of my teammates, so I went to defend him. Whatever they want to do, we can handle it between the white lines, though.
All right, have a great night.
All right.
All right, well, all of this goes back to last year when the Steelers came to Tampa, beat the Buccaneers 17-10. After that game, Steelers safety Lee Flowers called the Bucs paper champions. That got the bad blood going, and Al, it is still flowing tonight.
And we can see exactly what you were talking about. Here it was about 45 minutes ago. Keyshawn, Nate Webster, the linebacker, James Farrier on the other side for Pittsburgh, and then Warren Sapp comes strutting out onto the field, gets a little shove from Jerome Bettis, and does a couple of sow cows and toe loops on his way to his side of the field.
And he just went right through the Pittsburgh warm-up area, and he had some words for those guys too. In fact, he said the other day, he said, we're going to come out on the 50 and go 60, and that's what this one's all about.
Steelers, Bucs, Could it be a preview of the Super Bowl in this wacky season? Who knows? Martin Gramatica kicking off. Steelers to receive. Good kick, a yard into the end zone. Antoine Randall L., the versatile rookie from Indiana, brings it back to the 20. Tackled by Jack Golden. Let's take a look at the Pittsburgh starting offense.
Tommy Maddox, UCLA.
Jerome Bettis, Notre Dame.
Dan Kreider, New Hampshire. Plexico Burris, Michigan State.
Hines Ward, Georgia. Jeremy Tooman, Michigan.
Wayne Gandy, Auburn.
Alan Faneca, LSU. Jeff Hardings, Penn State.
Kendall Simmons, Auburn.
Marvell Smith, Arizona State.
Good offensive line. 4 of those guys, number 1 draft picks. And Smith, a number 2 pick. They do a great job leading the way for Bettis, who's the tailback in this set, but Maddox to go deep on first down. And the first play of the game is a ball that is caught by Plexico Burris inside the 40-yard line of the Bucs, but there is a flag down. And the flag is down back at the 34-yard line. Burris covered by Rondé Barber.
You know, one of the things that Bill Cowher talked about last night is if you want to throw on this defense,
penalty if declined, first down.
The best down to throw is first down. You know, you don't want to wait until you get third down when they're in all that cover two. Here's Rondé Barber right out here. He's the guy Plexico Burris was running the pattern on, and you see they call the penalty on him because you can't bump after 5 yards. That was a perfect throw. I'll tell you, Tommy Maddox just put that thing right in there.
Despite the bump. Penalty obviously declined. That's a 41-yard gain. First down from the 40. Now the first rush of the night is Jerome Bettis for 5 to the 35. The Tampa Bay defense, number 1 in the league. Here they are.
Greg Spires, Florida State.
Warren Sapp, University of Miami.
Chartrick Darby, South Carolina State.
Simeon Rice, V. Atlanta.
Derek Brooks, Florida State University.
Shelton Quarles, Vanderbilt.
Al Singleton, Temple University.
Brian Kelly, USC.
John Lynch, Stanford.
Dexter Jackson, Florida State.
Rondé Barber, Virginia.
2nd and 5 now against that number 1 defense, and Jerome Bettis is close to a first down. When you're number 1 defensively, that means you've given us up the fewest yards in the league. They're also number 1 against the pass, but most important, with Monty Kiffin, their defensive coordinator, they're number 1 in points allowed. They've given up fewer points per game than any team in the league.
You know, one of the big reasons is they're so strong up the middle. You start with Warren Sapp, and then you go to Derek Brooks, and then you go to John Lynch. And in any sport, I think strength up the middle is big. And I'll tell you, that's what it's all about with this Bucs defense.
And all of those guys are going to Honolulu to the Pro Bowl. On first down, Maddox throws, and the defender falls down, and the catch is made by Plexico Burris for a first down inside the 15-yard line with Rondé Barber tripping.
And that's the second one that they went out there to Plexico Burris on Rondé Barber. Here's Plexico Burris, here's Rondé Barber there, and you see Burris just makes an inside cut. As he does, Rondé Barber goes down. I tell you, Tommy Maddox is ready with that ball. I mean, that's what all these Steelers love about him is his anticipation.
From the 13-yard line, Bettis. The amazing thing about Maddox, you all know the story as you follow the NFL. They're in Tennessee about a month ago. He is temporarily paralyzed. He fears he'll be permanently paralyzed. Spends the night in a Nashville hotel. God knows about his future. Missed a couple of weeks, but back he comes as number 1.
He had a spinal concussion. He said that night when he was in the hospital, he asked the doctor, when will he be able to play again? And the doctor said, we just have to get you well, and then we'll worry about playing. He said, but as an athlete, that's the only thing that you think of is, when can I get back out there on the field?
You saw Cordell Stewart on the sideline, the number 2 quarterback. Catch is made on the outside by Antoine Randall, and he gets to the end zone for a touchdown. Went right to the pylon and gets it in as they, from the opening kickoff, go 81 yards in 3 minutes.
And this was all about pass protection, and it was about Tommy Maddox getting rid of the ball quickly. You see him get that ball out there to Randall L. on that third step. 1, 2, 3, boom, get it out there. Randall L. gets it, and anytime he gets it, he's always dangerous to get it in the end zone.
Jeff Reed to attempt the point after. Mike Mularkey, the offensive coordinator, writes a nice opening to his script every week. That's 8 times this season the Steelers have scored a touchdown on their first possession. It's also Randall L's first receiving touchdown, the rookie from Indiana. So down the field they go, just like that. 7-0 Pittsburgh. ABC's Monday Night Football brought to you by Budweiser, brewed fresh in America. Circuit City, we're with you. Ford, the best-selling line of SUVs on the planet. And American Express, make life rewarding. Aerial coverage tonight in Tampa, provided by Southwest Airlines. Raymond James Stadium, site of the Super Bowl a couple of years ago when Baltimore beat the Giants. Well, the number 1 defense looked like anything but. 6 plays, beginning with that 41-yard pass to Burris. Randall L into the end zone. And now Jeff Reed picked up a few weeks ago, and he's done a great job as their place kicker. Sends this one down to the 10-yard line. Aaron Stecker. And he gets dragged down up at the 20-yard line, taken down there by Chidi Uoma. Tampa Bay with Sean King. Here they are.
Sean King, Tulane University. Michael Pittman, Fresno State. Mike Allstott, Purdue.
Keyshawn Johnson, USC.
Keenan McCardell, UNLV.
Ken Dilger, Illinois.
Roman Oven, University of Louisville.
Kerry Jenkins, Troy State.
Jeff Christie, Pitt.
Cozy Coleman, University of Tennessee.
Kenyatta Walker, University of Florida.
Kenyatta had his hands full last year. King on first down throws it to McCardell up at the 25. That's a gain of 4. Let's take a look at the Steeler defense.
Aaron Smith, Northern Colorado. Casey Hampton, Texas. Kimo Von Oelhoffen, Boise State. Jason Gilden, Oklahoma State.
James Ferrier, Virginia.
Kendrell Bell, Georgia. Joey Porter, Colorado State. Chad Scott, Maryland.
Lee Flowers, Georgia Tech.
Brent Alexander, Tennessee State.
Dwayne Washington, NC State.
Pittsburgh 5th-ranked defense, but they're number 1 in the league against the rush. And Tampa Bay has not been a good rushing team, and it's intercepted by Chad Scott. And an open road to the end zone, 13-0.
Yeah, we were talking about what they did last year to Brad Johnson. They were going to blitz him. They were going to go after him. They were going to get these sacks. They do the exact same thing here to Sean King. They blitz him right up the middle, get in his face. And you'll see Chad Scott right here. The ball is just thrown to the inside. He's reading. He's playing his zone back there. He's reading. He sees the quarterback all the way. Now watch the pressure up the middle. You see they have those linebackers cross. They get the pressure right up the middle in Sean King's face.
30-yard return for number 30. Jeff Reed for the point after. So 3 minutes, 50 seconds into the game. The Steelers trying to get to the playoffs, trying to win the AFC North, up by 14. Well, Sean King, his first pass of the night picked off. Chad Scott, their first-round draft choice in '97, runs it back. 3rd interception return. Whatever it was, somebody said something funny. King is able to laugh. Brad Johnson, who's the number 3 quarterback, is able to smile, but they're down by 14 early in the game as Reed's kick is fielded at the 6-yard line by Aaron Stecker. Tampa Bay has never had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Never. Franchise that started in 1976. Tampa Bay, they've lost 3 games, John, never twice in a row, but this is the most they have been down in any game this season.
Yeah, and I think it's a tough start here for Sean King. You know, the reason you say they were laughing on the sideline because it's too early to cry, but you know, I mean, they don't have a running game. It's not like, you know, they missed Brad Johnson. He's been the big part of that offense, and it's not, well, we can play Sean King and go to our running game and our defense. Sean King is going to have to take it upon his shoulders and do what Brad Johnson did.
That's Aaron Stecker for a loss of 1. And it's worthwhile to point out, when you're the number 3 quarterback and you're talking about Johnson playing in the 4th quarter, if you play before the 4th quarter, that means King cannot play and Rob Johnson, who's number 2, cannot play. So if you bring Brad in earlier than that, he's got to go all the rest of the way.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they wouldn't think about bringing Brad Johnson in until the 4th quarter. And that would be, if it were a close game in the 4th quarter. I mean, they're not just going to bring him in, but the reason that they're starting Sean King instead of Rob Johnson is because I think he'll have fewer negative plays.
2nd and 12, and the catch is made on the outside by the tight end Ricky Dudley up at the 30-yard line. Sean King made a very auspicious debut in a Monday night game in 1999. The irony is, when you think about Sean King, if Ricky Prohl doesn't make the catch in the St. Louis-Tampa Bay championship game, this guy is probably quarterbacking in the Super Bowl.
Right, or if that one catch that really was a catch, had they allowed that, he could have made the Super Bowl.
Right, in the St. Louis-Tampa Bay 11-6 championship game in the 99 season. 3rd down and 6, pressure is on, and King is able to sling it away, but the pressure was put on the safety blitz by Mike Logan, who comes in unimpeded.
Right, and Mike Logan is part of the nickel package, and this is where the Steelers give you all the exotic blitzes. They're a 3-4 defense, and then when they go to nickel, they bring Logan in as a safety, and you see not only did they bring Logan, but they also brought Brett Alexander, so they have 2 safeties coming, and this was their plan. This was their plan for Brad Johnson, and they're using the same defensive plan against Sean King.
Veteran Tom Tupa, kicking for years, several teams, gets the punt away, bounces at the 25, skips on 2 hops into the arms of Antoine Randall L, and good coverage that time by Dwight Smith, stopping him up at the 22. Beautiful start for the Steelers. And the Packers and the Eagles love it as well at the moment. 14-0. Tommy Maddox was over on the sideline during the television timeout. A lot of times the Steelers begin a play following a TV timeout with a trick play with Hines Ward or Randall L lining up the backfield. Monty Kiffin is on top of that, and they'll come up conventionally here as Maddox leads them to the line at the 21-yard line. Pettis is the running back on 1st down. John Lynch, number 47. He'll be going to the Pro Bowl as Maddox throws, and that's caught up at the 39-yard line. And Hines Ward, who's caught more than 100 balls this season, Steeler record, a 20-yard gain.
Hines Ward is out here on Brian Kelly, and you see Kelly is up. He doesn't get a bump again, and it looked like he slipped. Just as Hines Ward makes that little move to the outside, Kelly slips, and then Hines Ward comes to the inside. I'll tell you, but Tommy Maddox has really been putting that ball on his receivers. You talk about accurate. Tommy Maddox has his accuracy tonight.
Perfect. 4 of 4 for 90 yards. It was Ward's 102nd catch. And this is Jerome Bettis behind Dan Kreider for a gain of about 3. Tommy Maddox, one thing about him that we've noticed through this season, if he throws to his left across his body, take a look at that. 13 touchdowns, including the one tonight, 2 picks. Over the middle between the hash marks, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. To the right side, 4 touchdowns, 8 picks. So you know where he likes to go.
Right, and a big part of that is Plexico Burress is on his left a big part of the time.
2nd down and 7. Now they run Bettis to the left. And he's up to the 48-yard line, tackled there by Derek Brooks.
Did you see John Lynch coming up? John Lynch is really a hitter. He was really going to unload on Jerome Bettis, and I think Bettis saw him coming and got down. Watch Bettis here, and he's going to see number 47. See, he gets turned here, and there comes Lynch right there. And Lynch was going to tee off on him, and I think Bettis just felt it, and he just got underneath of John Lynch.
Bettis, earlier this year, sprained knee. In fact, in the Monday night game against Indy, missed the better part of a month. 3rd down and 4. Maddox to the left side again, caught to Burress. And Burress, more than any other Steeler, has flourished and benefited from the change earlier this season from Stewart to Maddox.
You know, I think the big part, we talk about throwing left. Here's what they do a lot of times is they'll put their formation out to this side and then try and get a rotation this way. Then they have Burress to the back side. And I think, and it's usually the left side, but he knows that he's going to Plexico Burress all the way on that one. But he gets his overload, his offensive overload to the right side and has that single coverage on the back side.
From the 24-yard line, first down with under 7 to play in the quarter. To the right side he goes this time. Catch is made here by Hines Ward. And Ward to the 13-yard line.
Hines Ward's a tough guy, isn't he? I mean, he's one of those guys, a wide receiver, and you see Plexico Burress catching passes all the time, and Maddox throwing, and then you look, and Hines Ward has over 100 catches. And he's a guy that's worked himself into this position. I mean, he makes the team as a special teams guy and a kick returner, and then pretty soon he's a receiver. And Gil Cowher says, we're looking all over for a receiver. We have Hines Ward right here.
Caught 2 so far tonight, averaging about 12 yards a catch. To the ground again, and that's Brooks wrapping Bettis up at the 10-yard line after a gain of a couple.
You know, Bettis was saying the other day that he felt better on Friday at practice than he has all year. What happened is last week he got injured, and it really looked bad. I mean, it looked like he hurt his knee and his groin and everything. Came out of the game, and then he said it really didn't feel that bad. And what he did is he stretched some scar tissue or adhesions, and what looked like a knee injury really, in essence, made his knee better.
New form of rehabilitation. That's Randall L. A little trickery here. Looking to throw. He was a quarterback at Indiana. Now he's going to run, and he takes it to the 6-yard line where Dwight Smith comes up to stop him in bounds, about 3 yards shy of a first.
The Steelers love these kind of plays. Remember, it was Hines Ward used to do it, and it's Randall L. And you see he starts in the backfield. They flip it to him. Then he comes out to the right side with an option. There was good coverage downfield, so he just reverses his field and makes a run out of it.
He's a wideout, but he lines up in the backfield. This is 18th rush of the season.
He's just a football player and a great ball handler. Anytime you can get the ball in his hands, it can be big.
3rd down and 4 from the 7. Maddox, protection breaks down, and down he goes. So the secondary does its job. That's a big stop. Simeon Rice is there to tackle him at the 8-yard line.
You know, the secondary did their job 2 plays in a row, because then, and that other one, Randall L. wanted to throw it the play before this. Here you see the coverage. They zone the end zone there. You see, they just don't give them any big windows. When they get in a window, they shorten those windows so that there's no place to throw the ball.
That's a sack for Rice, who now is 15.5. Second in the league to Jason Taylor. Field goal attempt by Reed from 26 is good. 4:24 remaining in the quarter. Well, so far the only dancing done by the Bucs was before the game, because it's been all Pittsburgh to this point, 17-0.
Are you ready for some football?
End of the regular season next week in St. Louis. The 49ers against the Rams on Monday night. ESPN's Sunday night game is Tampa Bay against Chicago and Champaign. Now, if the Bucs were to lose tonight and the season ended after tonight's game, they'd be the 3 seed. So that's a very big game for them next week. It's a very big game for them tonight, and we'll detail the seedings as we go along tonight, as Reed's kick is fielded by Aaron Stecker at the 12. And he brings it back up to the 39-yard line, and that's where Tampa Bay will try to get on track, because with 4:15 left in the opening quarter, the Steelers have come roaring down to the Gulf Coast and lead 17-0. February 8th, after the Bachelorette on ABC. Speaking of Hawaii, Joey Porter will be there for the Pro Bowl on Feb 2. He's going. He has 8 sacks and 4 interceptions this season. From the 39, they toss it back to Mike Allstott, and his first carry of the night is a beauty as he takes it into Steeler territory to the 44-yard line. 7, making an 18-yard game.
This is, if you want to get something started, this isn't the bad way to do it. Get Mike Allstott in there. He makes a Pro Bowl as a fullback, but he's really a tailback here. That's that old student body right. You get everyone pulling to the right. Mike Allstott gets his shoulder square and then runs downhill.
From the 43-yard line. King flips it to the outside, and it's dropped. That's Michael Pittman, who came over in the offseason from Arizona to replace Warrick Dunn. Let's take a look at the Steeler defense and how well they've played. They lost to Houston only because they turned the ball over, and 3 turnovers were returned for touchdowns, but they gave up only 47 yards to the Texans. Last week beat Carolina, so that's 178 yards allowed in 2 games. Phenomenal.
And one group that doesn't get as much credit as they deserve is a defensive line. This is a linebacker defense, but if it weren't for these defensive linemen, these linebackers wouldn't make those plays.
And the pressure that time, but King is able to get out of the pocket and hit the tight end Ken Dilger to the 32-yard line, and that's a first down.
I think John Gruden probably sees that they're going to have to start doing that. That they're just going and they're just rushing the point of the quarterback. You see Joey Porter, he's going like that's Brad Johnson there. He's taking it inside, and what he's doing is he's losing his contain because they think they're going to rush where the quarterback is supposed to be, and Sean King just steps right outside the area that Joey Porter left.
From the 31, here comes the blitz, and it's picked up. Good protection for King, but then the pass is no good. Intended for Keyshawn Johnson. You know, John, you never want to make too big a deal out of a drive with 47 minutes to play, but when you start out like this, it's pretty important here for Tampa Bay to look decent, come out with some points here.
Well, just to get a momentum change. I mean, that they came in and for whatever reason, the Buccaneers weren't ready for what the Steelers brought to them, and now they have to take it away. They have to change it and get it back.
Second down and 10, and Allstott got them moving with that initial run. Now let's see if they can make it pay off, but this is Michael Pittman who slips on the turf. He gets booed. Warrick Dunn was a popular guy here. They let him go to Atlanta. They brought Pittman in, and they said, well, where do you see this guy? He played with a bad team in Arizona, but he's with a good team here, but he really hasn't done that much.
Well, here's the big thing that they don't like is that 3.4 average. He's catching the ball, and he's an important part of the pass offense because he's a good pass protector and he's a good receiver. But he's not giving the run, and the Bucs really haven't had a running game this year.
Third down and 11. King, and that pass is high, intended for Pittman. So a nice beginning to this drive, and then they fizzle out at the end. 4th and 11.
This is a tough thing. I mean, it's a tough thing for Sean King, and that's what a backup has to do, though, is you don't play, and you also don't get the reps in practice. So you just have to kind of study like you're going to play, and then you don't play, and then you have to come back the next week and do it again. And talking to Sean King the other day, and he said that's really the toughest part is, you're not going to play, but you have to get ready because you can play at any time.
50-yard attempt for Grammatica. If he misses it, Pittsburgh gets the ball at the 40. Wobbler, knuckler, good.
That was a 3-iron shot.
It was. But there's a flag down at the 29-yard line, about 3 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage, and it's against Pittsburgh. It's 4th and 11, but it's a hold, so it's a first down.
Right, it's an automatic first down, and this is a situation, do you take the points off the board? I would think in Tampa Bay's situation, it will be an automatic first. You would take them
Number
off.
Number 92, who pulled the defender aside, and another player went through the gap. That's a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Jason Gilden with a hold, so even though it's 4th and 11, that's automatic. They take the 3 points off. There goes the 50-yard field goal.
You're going to see Jason Gilden is number 92. He's right here. You see what he does is he grabs. What they're trying to do is get a guy inside the tight end and between the wing and the tight end, and he grabs the tight end. That really didn't look like.
Not really, yeah.
That really wasn't a thing.
Ticky-tack. Ball at the 28-yard line. First down. Allstott. The way they're going, Grammatica's going to get another chance at a 50-yard field goal. Tackled by Bell.
You know, this is something that a coach probably said, watch Gilden. What he does is he'll grab the tight end and pull him out of there. So the official's watching it, but I don't think he does anything. I think he's watching for something that, in reality, it never did happen.
The body language indicated he was guilty, but then you saw that he had no body to throw.
Well, yeah, I mean, he started like he was going to rush and then stopped and backed out, and they brought the two outside.
I'm right here, big guy. Second down and 12 now from the 30-yard line. King stepping out, good mobility. And Sean King, that's the one thing he can really bring that Brad Johnson can't do, the ability to escape the rush like that and then turn what would have been a loss into a 15-yard gain in the first down.
And I think that's the thing that John Gruden probably talked about and realized that they had to do that because, as I said earlier, he caught Joey Porter in the inside. They were rushing to the inside. They were rushing to the point of a drop-back quarterback. So you have to move your quarterback and get him out of there a little. See, here he was trying to run a pump. That was going to be a quick and go. It wasn't there, and he just put the ball down and took off with it.
Farrier is the injured Steeler, the former Jet, and they're still working on him at the 30-yard line. Farrier gets hit by his own teammate. Farrier got hit by Kendrell Bell. Brought him in from New York, let Earl Holmes go.
I tell you, that's not a bad group with Jason Gilden on one side, Joey Porter on the other side, Kendrell Bell inside, and they bring James Farrier in. That's not a bad fit, but if you're going to be fit someplace, it's not bad to be fit with those three guys.
Mike Jones will come in number 95, 12th year in the league, and he'll forever live in NFL lore as the man who tackled Kevin Dyson at the 1-yard line to preserve the Super Bowl for the Rams.
He should live in lore.
Yes, he will. At the 16-yard line on first down. And they give it to Allstott. He bangs his way through the middle down to the 6-yard line.
Yeah, this is one thing that the Buccaneers like to do, and I think John Gruden found out about this team is get on this side of the 50. Get on your side of the 50. Put Mike Allstott in and pound it at him. I mean, that's when he does his best. When you're coming out or before you get to midfield, not so big. You have to use Pittman. You have to use the other guys. When you get down in here is when you use Mike Allstott, and he's not in on this play, but I would sure put him in on the next play.
He's not in these. He was coming off hobbling. He's out for at least one play. He came right to the sideline, and they're going to let the quarter expire, which it does before the play clock expires. They'll turn it around, go to the other end, and try to get it in. But it's 17-0 Pittsburgh after one, and Monday Night Football resumes after this message and a word from your ABC station. Second quarter beginning. Aerial coverage tonight. Southwest Airlines bringing it to you. Al Michaels, John Madden, Melissa Stark. 17-0 Pittsburgh on the road. But Allstott is back in now as the second quarter commences. Second down and 2 from the 7-yard line. They give it to Mike, and he gets taken down by Kendrell Bell, who rings Mike's, and there's a fumble, and it's recovered by Pittsburgh.
Boy, we talk about defensive guys unloading. Did Kendrell Bell unload on that one? Darian Barnes was the fullback, and he was leading. Allstott was the ball carrier. And watch number 97. He's right here. He's going to switch, and then he comes in right there. And as he hits Allstott, I think he just knocks the ball right out. Watch, he's going to come in right there. I think that he unloaded on him and knocked Allstott back, knocked his arms out, and knocked the ball right out. That is a tackle. If you want to say, how do you tackle? How do you play inside linebacker and tackle like number 97 did?
Aaron Smith recovered. Pittsburgh has it. Here's Bettis. Allstott has been a fumbler through his career. Been much better in later years. I've mentioned that he came hobbling off the field. One fumble every 49 times since he came into the league, and that's the highest rate among the guys who've been around for a period of years. And he gives it up here, and not only does he give it up here, but remember they took 3 points off the board on Grammatica's 50-yard field goal.
Yeah, and I think on that Kendrell Bell thing, I don't think he saw him. I think he was square, and Bell came and unloaded on him from the outside.
Second and 10. Maddox. And that's caught over the middle by Ward to the 30-yard line. I mean, it's so ironic, but John and I were talking about it in the commercial break. If you get hurt and you come out of the game, as All-Star did, you have to be out for a play. And he would have been out, but it doesn't apply if the quarter ends. That doesn't count. So when they turned it around, he comes into the game and fumbles.
Yeah, and he's going to be the short yardage guy. They brought Darian Barnes in, and that's what John Gruden says. That's when we go really big, and we want to play mall ball, he calls it. But you can't fumble when you're playing mall ball.
Maddox, who is 7 for his first 7, gives it to Bus to the 31. Take a look at the Pittsburgh offense tonight. They're 9th in rushing with Tampa Bay 7th. Mentioned before that Tampa Bay, the best pass defense, the best total defense, and the fewest points allowed. But as you look at the Pittsburgh offense on the left side, they're pretty good as well. I mean, you're 6th, 4th, and 7th in those last 3 categories among 32 teams.
Tommy Maddox is really hot, and we talked about that, but he's getting great protection from this offensive line. This could be the best offensive line in football.
Saraway, that offensive line has protected him to the extent that Maddox has thrown for 152 yards in a little bit more than 17 minutes, which is more than the average yardage allowed passing this year per game by Tampa Bay.
But doesn't he look comfortable again? I thought after his injury, the first game back, he looked a little unsteady. The second game, he played a little better. And tonight, he looks like he's very close. In his first half, he's very close to perfect.
Looks like a guy who should have been a #1 draft choice, which he was by Denver 10 years ago. 3rd and 6, Barber knifing through on a blitz, but it's picked up, and that pass is incomplete. Intended for nobody. Got out of the pocket and just threw it downfield.
That's the thing that Tommy Maddox knows, that when he felt that pressure and he felt Rondé Barber coming from his left, he's not a big scrambler, but he's going to get away from the pressure. Then when he gets away from the pressure, he's just going to throw it away. Here's Rondé Barber. You see coming, they have an overload defensively on his backside. Tommy Maddox feels it, gets out to his right, and just throws it away.
The new punter is an old pal, Tom Ruin, for years a Denver Bronco, went to the Giants in midseason. They just picked him up because Josh Miller had shoulder surgery, and he sends one down to the 20-yard line where Carl Williams returns it to the 30. Chris Tuamatu-Ma'afala makes the tackle. And here comes Tampa down by 17. Big bridge to climb here. 17-0, Pittsburgh. Sunshine Skyway.
Merry Christmas, baby. Oh, we need a little Christmas right this very minute. Candles in the window, carols on the spinet. Yes, we need a little Christmas right this very minute. Need a little Christmas now.
Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers have come in playing the role of Scrooge before this capacity crowd at Raymond James. 17-0. 11:57 to the half. This drive begins at the 30-yard line with Sean King in place of the injured Brad Johnson, slinging it for Keyshawn Johnson, and incomplete. And let's check in with Melissa.
Al, we saw the two teams going at it before the game tonight, and I mentioned that Steelers safety Lee Flowers called the Bucs paper champs last year, and I talked to Flowers about it. He said it all stems back to when they played last year. Before the game, Warren Sapp walked through their stretching drill, and they said, as a player, there is nothing that is more disrespectful. They all remembered that. They were all still driven by that, and they said, we expect him to do it again, which is exactly what Sapp did, and that's what added that fuel to the fire.
He came pirouetting through, and that pass in the breeze, and you can see with Melissa's hair blowing how breezy it's become here as a front begins to move toward the Gulf Coast, and that sails over the head of Joe Juravicius, and that's a tough thing to do because Joe is 6'5".
You know what I'm wondering here, if Tampa Bay doesn't look good at all. I mean, they don't look good on offense, they don't look good on defense, and I wonder if the fact that they clinched their division yesterday without playing. Remember, we're sitting here with John Gruden, and New Orleans loses, and someone comes in and congratulates them, you just won your division. I wonder if there's a little letdown because they aren't playing like the Bucs so far.
They can't afford to let down either, and that's incomplete. Intended for Keyshawn Johnson. We talked about it at the top of the show. Tampa Bay's in the playoffs, but they could be number one if they win both games tonight and at the Bears next week. And Philly loses to the Giants, they're one. If they win both of their games, they're at worst number two. But if they lose, you face the prospect of playing a wild card game here and then having to go to either Philadelphia or Green Bay and then probably to the other for the championship game.
Well, you know what happens the first time they go to one of those places.
Sure.
They won't make it to the other.
Tom Tupa to punt. Wobbly low kick. And a flag comes in at the end as it is down by the Bucs at the 38-yard line.
That's going to be one of those when if a cover guy goes out of bounds, he can't come in and be the first guy to touch it. When it's on the sidelines, that's usually what it is. You see the official throws his hat when the guy goes out of bounds. So that's not a penalty going out of bounds. But you see then coming back inbounds and being the first guy to touch it is an illegal touch. That's what happened. So that's the penalty right there.
Illegal touching on the kicking team, number 35, who went out of bounds and was the first to touch the ball. Penalty is declined. First down, Pittsburgh.
11:29 to the half. Steelers 17, Bucs zip.
Merry Christmas, John and Al.
Thank you, gang. I knew it would be a train or a bus in that shot. No aircraft.
Did you ever get a train as a kid?
I did. Lionel. It was the greatest.
I think everyone did. I mean, at some point when you're a kid, you always wanted a train, and at some point when you're a kid, you always got a train, and then it usually, like 2 weeks after, didn't work anymore. It was broken. And I don't know anyone that ever got a train and then stayed with it for like years.
Nope. And how many of them are still in garages packed away? 2nd and 6 as Dan Kreider takes it up to the 45, a little rugby-like scrum. And Derek Brooks.
I think the Bucs better start their scrumming before the whistle blows because the Pittsburgh Steelers are just taking it to him. And I think that Dan Kreider, they gave him the ball there earlier. I think he set the tempo. I mean, a couple of those lead blocks. I mean, he just came in and just blasted things out of there for Jerome Bettis. And I think that kind of set the tempo that we're going to come after you, we're going to get you. And I think that Kreider had a little part in that early.
3rd down and 3. Maddox 8 of 9. Little flip. Amos Zerouay, who spells Bettis in the backfield, a little change of pace. But he's brought down behind the line of scrimmage by the cornerback, Dwight Smith.
Those plays never work against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you're going to run against them, you have to run straight at them because they have such great speed. I mean, that's why they were so good against Michael Vick. Because they have team speed. If you try and pitch out, they're going to get a whole bunch of guys to the ball.
Wayne Gandy, the left tackle, is still down.
Talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line and guys that are playing well, and Wayne Gandy is one of those guys. Alan Faneca, who plays next to him, is in the Pro Bowl. He's that left side, pretty strong left side. They got Jeff Harding's back as their center, and they can pound away in there at you.
Tom Ruin just signed by Pittsburgh to replace Miller. I'll pick up a nice postseason check. Married to the Olympic swim champion, Amy Van Dyken. So Tom says, I am the second best athlete in the family. No question. Fielded at the 14 by Carl Williams. And Williams brings it back up to the 20-yard line. Tackled by Brett Keisel, who's been a special teams maven. 9:28 left in the half.
Rocking around the Christmas tree.
Sunshine Skyway, that's a bridge, John, you have traversed, taking it from St. Petersburg over toward the Bradenton, Sarasota area.
Right, I traversed it when I came in, and I'm going to traverse it after the game when I go out.
It's a round trip traverse.
Yeah, we haul over that thing. I'll tell you, it's awfully tight, though, between the side and the water.
Don't look off to the side as Michael Pittman takes it to the 23. Well, all of the big college games, the BCS games coming your way, beginning with the Rose Bowl presented by PlayStation 2, Washington State and Oklahoma. Nokia Sugar Bowl that night, Georgia, Florida State. And the next night, JM2 FedEx Orange Bowl, USC and Iowa in a beauty. And then the national championship game is the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Miami 1 against Ohio State 2 on Jan 3. So 3 days, 4 games, and the climax is with the national title.
If a person wanted to, they could just flop around and watch bowl games all over the place.
Yeah. Already well into bowl season, but those are the big ones at the end. That's Kimo von Oelhoffen, one of the defensive linemen in the 3-4, who's really a very unsung guy having a great year.
We were talking about the job that he does and Casey Hampton does and Aaron Smith. You know, the 3 defensive linemen, they have to play 2 gaps and they have to, you know, take on the blockers so that the linebackers can make their plays, and they do a great job at it. I mean, they're very stout, they're very disciplined, they handle the line of scrimmage. As Bill Cowher says, you know, it's tough for us to get a free agent defensive lineman. He said, we have to draft him and raise him. No free agent wants to come in and play defensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No glory. No Pro Bowl trips.
Linebackers want to come in.
Rodney Bailey replaces him, and there's a hole in the middle for Michael Pittman to exploit and get a first down up to the 33, gain of 10. John Gruden.
Yeah, the first thing you're going to do is your center, Jeff Christie, has to block Casey Hampton right here. And you see Hampton just pushes him right in the backfield. Now he needed some help. It's not Hampton. Hampton got his penetration here. That next linebacker had to be there.
From the 34-yard line, King, who's been off target and nobody's open, so he packs it in and gains 2, and he's tackled there by 91 Aaron Smith.
That's what I like about Aaron Smith. He makes a lot of those plays. I mean, he plays a run very well when the ball comes to him. He holds a point, but when it goes away from him, he has that thing where he can flatten down the line and get to the point where the ball's going to be. Watch him right here. See, the ball is going to go inside. He takes the block on and then just plays right down the line of scrimmage. You see right there? He just closes everything down. And you watch film on him, he does that all the time.
2nd and 9, and they fake it to Allstott. On the run, and Keyshawn Johnson drops the ball. He's wrapped up by Dwayne Washington. Dropped it. Washington wrapping him up as the ball got there. Maybe got a piece of it. Quarterback rating is Tommy Maddox, and it doesn't get any better than 155.8. Sean King, I mean, that's a rushing average, 4.9, the quarterback rating. He's 0 for his last 6 is King, who grew up in this area in St. Petersburg. Family is still there. Maddox, the miraculous story, out of football for a bunch of years and played in the Arena League, played in XFL. 3rd and 9, and that's a bad pass again. He's 3 out of 13. And John, you begin to wonder, we talked about Brad Johnson. Do you not think maybe of going to Rob Johnson, who's the number 2 guy right now?
Yeah, I would think that John Gruden has to be thinking of that. I don't know that I would do it in the first half, but I would think of maybe making a change. I mean, if things don't get better, I would make a change to Rob Johnson in the 3rd quarter. I think you have to give Sean King at least a half to start to work things out, but he doesn't look like he's being very successful at working things out.
You can bring Tom Tupa in, the punter. Tupa's been a quarterback in his career.
No, we don't need that. Not ready for that.
And that's a bad kick again. That's Tupa's 2nd bad one in a row. So nothing going right for the Bucs. That's 26 yards with 7:19 remaining in the opening half. And the Steelers trying to wrap up the AFC North, leading 17-0. NBA back on ABC Christmas Day. That's Wednesday. Celtics and Nets. They met last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. Kings-Lakers, they met last year in those phenomenal Western Conference Finals. We'll talk with Kobe Bryant, in fact, at halftime tonight as we get ready for NBA coverage on Christmas Day. Doubleheader, 5:30 Eastern Time it begins. First down play here, Amos Zeroué up to the 43.
Yeah, we're talking about the offensive line and what a great job of protection they've done so far for Tommy Maddox. But then when Tommy Maddox has had that time, he has delivered. And if you look at him in this first half and the throws that he's made them all. I mean, he's made the deep one, he's made the shorter one, and his accuracy, he's putting the ball right on his receivers where they don't break stride. That's the way, remember 2 or 3 years ago, that's what Kurt Warner used to do. He'd put the ball on his receivers where they could just keep running.
2nd and 7, fake end around to Ward, then they dump it underneath on the screen to Zeroué. Slips the tackle and gets wrapped up, wrestled down at the 49 by Ronde Barber, stopping him about 1.5 yards shy of the first.
Yeah, I think the way the Steelers started would probably be more successful. Running Jerome Bettis and running Zeroué and, just running inside, because these types of things are very difficult against this Tampa Bay defense, again, because of their speed. And if you can do something to them, it's usually running the ball right at them, which is what I would expect they're going to do on this 3rd and short.
Have to get to the 50. Pretty close. That is tackled by Lynch.
Yeah, they always talk about the 8th guy up, and when you play Tampa Bay, that 8th guy up is going to be John Lynch. And he's as good as any linebacker, and he's going to come up and he's going to fit in. And you just see him right here. He just comes from the outside, and we were talking earlier about, when you come and you come right down the line to a point of where the runner's going to be. That's exactly what Lynch did.
Lynch had a sprained neck last week, and he plays through a lot of pain, but he was inactive for the game against Detroit.
A guy that hits like John Lynch is always going to have some hurt somewhere. He's smiling there as he talks to Tommy Maddox. He's playing against his brother-in-law. One of the tight ends for the Steelers is John Allred. Here's John Lynch's wife, Linda, right there. And she's also John Allred's sister.
Right.
And so Lynch has to watch out, before he catches the ball, what he's going to do.
There's John. He's engaged. He told me before he's going to get married in June out in Southern California.
So then his wife will be related to John Lynch.
Well, you know what? We're all related when you think about it. Go all the way down the line.
Yeah, right. I mean, then
you're my Uncle John.
But you wonder who the wife roots for. Do you root for the brother or the husband?
They try it again with a different flea flicker here. And that pass is incomplete, so a lot of razzle-dazzle, but Zeroué is covered by Barber. Melissa, what do you know about this whole deal?
Well, I have the answer for you. I talked to Linda Lynch about it, and she said her allegiance absolutely has to go with her husband, John, and the Bucs, because they've been here so long. He spent his entire 10-year career here, and they've been through so much. His first 4 years here were losing years, but she said her dream would be for the two guys to play on the same team. That would solve all her problems.
Yeah.
Doesn't it look like John Lynch was just laughing at this whole thing?
Yeah. Like he's listening to us. 2nd down and 10 at the 49. Avoids the sack. Nice move by Maddox, and then it's the fullback, Dan Kreider, taking the ball with a flag down at the 41-yard line. And the ball loose as well, and nobody has signaled that it's anything but a fumble. So you have a flag and a fumble.
And a scrum.
Yep, and it's retained for the moment by Pittsburgh, and Maddox is hurt. So everything happening on that play. And of course, if he comes out, Stewart has to warm up. So you've got Cordell warming up. You have Rob Johnson, when we were in commercial and talking about if they made a change, Rob Johnson may be coming in for Tampa Bay. He was warming up.
And Tommy Maddox is trying not to come out. He didn't leave the field.
15
there's a penalty against the Bucs for roughing a quarterback.
Well, he escaped Webster the first time. And then as we keep on going, let's see what happens to him here.
Yeah, see it is.
Ooh, it's Sapp.
He's throwing the ball, and it's Sapp gets his left ankle right there.
Sapp rolling up on the ankle. Webster coming in again, but it's Sapp.
Yeah, no, that's a bad one there. I mean, Tommy Maddox was nothing there. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, the ball was gone. Everything was out of there. Tommy Maddox isn't a threat to do anything. That was not right.
1st and 10, and this is Zerouay saying, take that. Zerouay takes it inside the 10, and it's going to be 1st and goal. And whatever it was, you can see with a flag down here as well, Warren must have, in his own way, apologized the way Maddox nodded.
Yeah, well, he patted him on the butt after that play, Warren Sapp does to Maddox, but what he did wasn't right. And you can see that flag came out after the play.
The defense, number 34, for taunting. We'll go half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
And here's Jackson taunting Zerouay. And then Hines Ward comes in.
Yeah, I mean, both of the teams have to get back and play, and you know, I mean, talking is one thing, but when you're not playing, you better just shut up. I mean, you just better, if you're going to play, you know, you'll get it done from the time the ball snaps until the whistle blows. The Buccaneers are doing all those other things.
Bettis in the backfield, 1st and goal from the 4, and he takes it halfway home. And the ball is down. Flag is down. Still belongs to Pittsburgh, but now check the penalty. Larry Nemmers is the referee.
I think that this is going to be a big regrouping at halftime by this Tampa Bay team.
Illegal motion on the offense, number 35. That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Fullback Dan Kreider. Cowher loves the call.
You don't know who he's yelling at. I mean, it could be Kreider for the illegal motion, or it could be the official for calling it because Cowher didn't think it was a penalty. One thing about Bill Cowher, though, he does take his headset off if he's going to yell. He doesn't yell into his headset.
1st and goal now from the 8-yard line. Bettis, and that's Webster breaking through to take him down, and another flag is down.
Yeah, I think the Steelers are going to learn that you can't do that. You're not going to get Jerome Bettis outside against this defense. And again, if you're going to do something, I mean, Tommy Maddox is so hot. I don't know why you just don't throw the ball in there.
Holding, offense, number 64. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
I mean, Lynch had to come over because there was an option there for the defense. You could have taken the play, and it would have been 2nd down and goal. Or the penalty. So John came over, and I think he wanted to say to Larry, you know, before Nemmers even asked the defense what it wanted to do, here's what we want to do.
Right. Give me the options that I have here because it's still going to be first down. And again, I think the way Tommy Maddox is throwing the ball, his line is protected, his receivers are getting open. I think this is a good situation for the Steelers.
1st and goal from the 19, and he's going to dump it off to Zerouay. Slips on the turf and gets back up, loses the football, and they go from 1st and goal at the 4 to turning it over at the 18-yard line. Dexter Jackson recovers. And Cowher with a look of a coach who said, you know what, we could have put this thing away a minute and a half ago.
Number 91, Chardrick Darby, is the guy that makes this play. Again, I thought they should throw the ball, but I thought they should have thrown it into the end zone. Watch number 91 come in here, and he's going to make it right there. You see his left hand? He just reaches around Zerouay and knocks that ball right out of there. See, Darby's going to come in right there and knock it out.
And Darby's going to be an important guy down the stretch because they're minus Anthony McFarland, who's now on IR with a broken foot. He was good in the middle. Zerouay's 2nd fumble of the year. He had 3 last year.
has
a
a
limited
bad
role.
right thumb.
First down at the 19-yard line, exactly what the Bucs needed to keep themselves in the game as King hits Keenan McCardell, the longtime Brown and Jaguar, up to the 26-yard line.
And we're just talking about the Bucs, and John Gruden has to regroup his team, and maybe that play by Darby, maybe that was the start of their regroup. I mean, maybe they can start it now, get a little something going here, and then go in and talk about it at halftime and decide what they're going to do in the second half.
Second down and 4. And that is caught by Johnson, who gets whacked by Flowers, and Keyshawn makes his first catch. Johnson lining up. They're going to try to get a play off without a huddle.
That's what Keyshawn Johnson does best, are those slants and crosses and the stuff in the middle.
Last play before the 2-minute warning is a pass to nobody. So 1:57 remaining in the half. Tampa Bay trying to hang in. 17-0 Pittsburgh. Derek Brooks will be going to his 6th straight Pro Bowl. He'll be the subject at halftime of 7 Days to Monday Night.
Sam's birthday today. That wouldn't be a smart thing to get a piece of cake before practice. I may just get one of the 9s just to piss him off.
Warren Sapp turning 30 this week. Derek Brooks. The 7 Days to Monday Night feature. Kobe Bryant will be along as well. We'll talk to Kobe about the Laker woes as we get ready for NBA coverage on Christmas Day. Ball at the 37-yard line on first down. King has it batted back and incomplete. Mike Logan batted it, and Bailey almost got there before it hit the ground.
Yeah, the Steelers are playing nickel with him now, and that's Logan, that they bring in as a nickel or 5th defensive back, and he comes up and plays a linebacker position. And you just see he just gets on a back and he just runs right over him. And that's the thing that you're always looking for. Michael Pittman was, he is a good blocker, but on that play, Logan just ran him over.
Third down 10. Flutters it, caught by Johnson to the 43-yard line. Anything but a perfect spiral, but it got there and it got to Keyshawn, and they convert. First down, 42-yard line, 20-yard gain. Without a huddle, they'll go. They have all of their timeouts. Minute and a half to the half. King flushed out by Gilden. They'll run it, and they'll run it to the 35. That's a gain of 7. And Tampa will take its first TO.
You feel that Sean King is feeling he has to make something happen now. Jason Gilden's the outside pass rusher here, working on Kenyatta Walker. And again, if that were Brad Johnson in there, he would have been in good shape. Because it's Sean King, the minute that he sees Gilden and take that inside on Kenyatta Walker, then Sean King just goes out around him. And you could do that, and again, they got ready, and their whole defensive game plan was Brad Johnson and pass rush, and they remember they sacked him 10 times last year. In fact, they said they could have sacked him 20 times last year. And that's the kind of pass rush they're not worried about containment. So I think that's something that the Bucs can take advantage of.
Kimo von Oelhoffen comes back into the game. Missed a few plays. Second down and 3. Over the middle. Works the inside again. This time it's Joe Juravicius. That moves the chains. First down, 29-yard line. Minute to go.
Yeah, they have plenty of time. They have 2 timeouts, so they can still throw the ball in the middle.
That's where he's been effective. Little shoulder move there, then he loses the ball, but it's incomplete. Nemers comes in to say, incomplete pass, arm coming forward. And again, it's Mike Logan who's found that opening, coming through the middle and putting the pressure on.
Well, you know, Mike Logan is, as I said earlier, a nickel back, but when he plays in that linebacker position, they're not counting him as a linebacker. You see, and he's rushing, and each time he's either being blocked by a back or he's not being picked up at all. This time he doesn't get picked up at all, and again, he's playing the linebacker position, but they're not counting him as a linebacker.
He's playing under the radar, and he's having a very effective first half.
It'll be a lot of fun for him.
Yes. Second down and 10. Four-man rush, and King throws, flag down, ball batted down. Batted down by Von Oelhoffen. Against the Bucs.
I think the thing that the Bucs have to think here is just get enough to get in field goal position and just get a field goal here. Remember they had one earlier. They took off the board.
57, 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
I think now if they could, you know, when you talk about momentum changers, those kinds of things, this is what the Buccaneers have to do. They have to get in field goal position, get the field goal here.
Bill Murin watching his team try to get at least a few more yards in at the moment. If they don't gain another yard, you'd be looking at a 56-yard.
I think he's figuring out how to block Mike Logan.
Among other things. Second and 20. And it's almost picked off Dwayne Washington. Almost had too much time to look it into his hands.
You know what the Steelers are doing is they're playing with the extra defensive backs, and then they're getting the blitz, and they can still play zone. And you see that time it was Lee Flowers that they brought in. We'd seen where they've been bringing Logan. They have three safeties in there, and they just bring different guys. That time it was Lee Flowers doing the same thing that Mike Logan had been doing.
Could have been an easy pick. Third down and 20. Three receivers set to the left. King looking that way. Throwing, and the pass is errant, intended for Keenan McCardell. So now it's fourth down, and they didn't gain another yard. And if they want to bring Grammatic in, that's a 56-yarder.
No, I would have thought right there that they would have just tried to get 10 more yards. Just get inside the 30 so that they would be in that field goal range, and they wanted to get something a little deeper.
Well, they bring Tupa in. They don't want to chance the field goal because that gives Pittsburgh the ball at midfield. Tupa, of course, as a former quarterback, could throw it out of this formation. But instead, he will conventionally kick it. And it will be down inside the 10-yard line. And that's where Pittsburgh will probably run out the clock. As we tell you, ABC's Monday Night Football from Tampa is being brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. eBay, the world's online marketplace. FedEx, ground, international, online, or express. Don't worry, there's a FedEx for that. And Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold, down, easy. And it's been easy for Pittsburgh to come into Tampa for the second year in a row and dominate, at least through the first half, 17-0.
And the Buccaneers have to be thinking that they can do the same thing in the second half that the Steelers did to them in the first half.
So
they better change their ways, hadn't they?
In a hurry. Is King, among other things, 7 under 22. 7 days to Monday night. A look at Derek Brooks. We'll talk to Kobe Bryant of the Lakers on the Lexus Halftime Show coming up when we return to Tampa after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC station.
The Lexus Halftime Show. Brought to you by Lexus. Introducing the V8-powered GX. A new kind of adventure begins. Here now, Al Michaels.
With a win tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers will clinch the AFC North title, cement a spot in the playoffs. They lead Tampa Bay by a score of 17-0. Had a lot of fun with the feature this year, 7 days to Monday night. The guys and gals in NFL Films have done a tremendous job with it. And tonight, we feature one of the truly good guys in the National Football League, the 6-time Pro Bowl linebacker from the Tampa Bay Bucks, Derek Brooks.
Go to work. I'm coming out smashing. Monday for us, we usually have a day off. Once a year, I get a chance to come home and visit my mom. She thinks she dominates the pool table.
Okay, Derek, you watching, baby? You watching son? You watching son? Oh, it's over now, right there. Miss.
Combination. Eyes closed.
Miss. Let me see.
She says she let me win, but I think I beat her. That's the first time I ever beat her playing pool. I am the man at Big Mama's house. Tuesday, we do a toy giveaway to the elementary school where I went to school at.
Who did you come here to see this morning? Derek. I like your football board.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, big guy. You're very welcome. Are you going to kiss your hand, too? Wednesday, we'll watch the game of Detroit, make all those corrections. So this is a particular play my mom was giving me a little flack about. This is me right here. I came out and I saw the formation a little late. She said I didn't take on the fullback good enough, which I didn't.
I just tell him, you was a little slow on that play, son.
So that lets me know that she's watching every play.
Here we go. Great Thursday, man. Force yourself to get better today. Work on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's 4 days since you had some pads on. So you want to bang a shoulder, you want to work your technique. You get some pretty good thumps in there. I like to rush. I'm a rusher.
Brooke, you can clear this thing open right here.
Oh, okay. I love it. He know I'm a disruptive force. It's kind of my fun day where I get a chance to rush our punt team. Our special team guys, they really like to get after me a little bit because I'm out there talking trash. Yeah, you better huddle up. Don't go to sleep, Jack. I got to get the guys fired up to go block a punt. We got him, Brooks. Oh, I got the drop. We got it. We got it. We got that one. Fridays, I visit my barber. People make fun of me because I wear a bald head and I go to a barber instead of doing it myself. Man, this is an art. You got a perfect bald head. You didn't know so much went into a bald head, did you? Saturday, I'll probably watch a little bit more film on Pittsburgh. Actually trying to play the game a little bit in my mind. I noticed one thing right now is they got some really big splits. See how big this gap is? Knowing Jerome, I've played him quite a few times. Very ironically, he worked his way back to this big split by the offensive line. They run that play Monday night. I'm gonna alert everybody that the ball might be coming here. Goes right, 888, 888. I usually get to the stadium about 3.5 hours before the game. They beat us at our own game last year. It's been fresh in my mind. So I've been keeping a small eye on Pittsburgh all year.
A look at Derek Brooks and a look there at Kobe Bryant of the LA Lakers. We'll talk with Kobe when we come back to Tampa. And we welcome you back to Tampa, Florida. And those of us at ABC are very excited because for the first time in 30 years, the NBA is back on ABC with a Christmas Day doubleheader. It starts with New Jersey against Boston in the opener. Then in the nightcap, it's the Los Angeles Lakers against the Sacramento Kings. The Lakers, of course, have won 3 straight world titles. Shaquille O'Neal had toe surgery in the offseason, so wasn't there on opening night. But the Lakers felt as soon as Shaq got back, everything would be okay. Well, it's not okay because a third of the way into the season, the Lakers have a record of 11 wins and 18 losses. And earlier I talked to Kobe Bryant and I asked him if the Lakers at this point felt that was more than just a pimple.
Yeah, well, we're a little bit concerned, obviously, because of the start. We expected Shaquille to get back and everything to fall right back in place. But that hasn't happened because we haven't been playing Laker basketball. But things are turning around. We're very optimistic. It's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but we're up to the challenge.
What's the first thing that has to happen for you guys to really get this turned around now?
I don't know. I mean, it's not one thing that you can really pinpoint to turn the season around. It's just about coming to work every day and just trying to improve and get better and try to find that rhythm, that we can play our best at.
Kobe, the Lakers take on the Sacramento Kings on Christmas Day. This has turned out to be, at this point, a great rivalry coming off the Western Conference Finals last year. And then as this season begins, you have Shaquille O'Neal calling them the Sacramento Queens. You have a preseason game in which Rick Fox and Doug Christie get into a fight, not only on the court, but that carries over to underneath the stands. The Lakers and the Kings, is it a little bit of a knockoff of the World Wrestling Federation, or is there real animus between the teams?
No, I think it's real. I think Sacramento, they really have a lot to prove as far as getting over the hump. You know, we've been beating Sacramento for the past 4 years in the playoffs, or 3 years. And, you know, they have something to prove. And us, we want to prove that we're still on top. And, you know, the championship has to come through the city of Los Angeles no matter what. So there's a lot of competitive juices flowing between us.
At the end of December, Tracy McGrady leads the league in scoring. Allen Iverson is next. And then you're third. Are you happy with the way you've played on an individual level this season?
Well, for me, it's not really that important. I mean, the most important thing for me is to try to turn the season around, start winning some ball games. You know, individual statistics and numbers don't mean a thing. You know, it's all about how your team does and the success that your team has, especially in June.
Kobe, thanks for joining us. Have a Merry Christmas. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday on ABC.
Thank you very much.
Celtics versus Nets, then the Lakers versus the Kings Christmas Day. And we'll be back with the second half from Tampa after this. Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Al Michaels, John Madden, and Melissa Stark as we start the second half. Pittsburgh dominating 17 points in the first quarter. On top 17-0, and ready to kick off is Jeff Reed to begin the third quarter. Aaron Stecker back to receive for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Breezy, 64-degree night. And Stecker will run it back from the 6-yard line. Back to the 27-yard line, and let's check in with Melissa Stark.
Al, Sean King, 7 for 22, 67 yards, and a pick that was returned for a touchdown in the first half. I asked John Gruden if he planned on making a quarterback change, and he said, in all fairness to King, he has not started in a long time. He did make a couple of nice plays, so he's going to let him have this first drive here, see how he plays, and then determine whether or not to make a change.
And then if he makes that change and he wants to go to, as we mentioned at the beginning of the game, Brad Johnson, that means that King can't play and Rob Johnson can't play. There's Rob Johnson with the hat on backwards, who's the number 2 quarterback. So the question becomes Johnson or Johnson.
I would guess it would be the first Johnson, Rob Johnson. And if they could get close, save Brad Johnson for the fourth quarter when they can bring their third quarterback in.
From the 27-yard line, they begin with Michael Pittman up to the 34-yard line. He's tackled there by the linebacker Mike Jones. Pittsburgh, well, those numbers are not necessarily reflective of the domination of the Steelers.
The Steelers started out so well, then they kind of got away from it. I mean, they threw 3 passes to Plexico Burress right off the bat in the first quarter, and then they didn't go back to him again.
James Farrier, the linebacker who was shaken up in the first half, had the flu, getting an IV in the locker room right now and will not be back there. So we'll see a lot of Mike Jones, and there's Keyshawn Johnson covered by Washington, incomplete.
Wayne Washington has done a nice job on Keyshawn Johnson. You know, he knows that he's going to run that inside pattern. It's either going to be a slant or a cross. So he takes away the inside, and then when he starts to go, he has that step, and he bursts with him, and Keyshawn Johnson doesn't have that step to get away from him. That's about the 3rd time Dwayne Washington has made a play on either a slant or a cross.
Dwayne Washington, a very durable back. 111 consecutive starts, longest current streak by any DB in the league, and that's one-handed and caught
but short of the first down by the former Raider Ricky Dudley, who makes the catch, but only for a very short gain up at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, that's one of those passes for 9 yards. And we talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense being fast and good tacklers, but this Steeler defense is also good tacklers. I mean, if you're going to go on third down and pass the ball, they're such good tacklers, you better get the ball beyond the first down marker. And when you only have 3 yards to go, that can't be that hard.
Tom Tupa's punt, which is his 5th of the night, is a beauty in some way, fielded by Antoine Randall at the 1-yard line. And that, which is normally something you wouldn't even think about doing, turns out all right for him. Rule of thumb is if it's inside the 10, just let it go.
Maybe that's the rule unless you're Randall L.
Yeah, that's right. Brings it back out to the 23, and the Steelers have it again. John, I've known that guy since he was 1. Ken Griffey Jr. When I'm doing the Reds in the early 70s, Ken Sr.'s playing. He's running around in the clubhouse with Tony Perez's kid, Eduardo, with Hal McRae's kid, Brian. Ed Sprague's son played a number of years with Toronto. All those kids are running around the clubhouse as 1- and 2-year-olds.
And now they're running around the major leagues.
Yep, most of them as multi-millionaires. Hines Ward takes the ball up to the 31-yard line. Gain of 8. Start track here for the Steelers. Good half for Maddox.
You know, again, those Burris receptions, you see 3 for 87 yards, and that was in the first 10 minutes or so of the game. And you would think that they would go back to that. That worked pretty well then, and I would assume that it would still be there. This is a formation they like to do it. They overload to this right side down here, and then have Burris up on top.
And this is Bettis taking that to the 36, and that's a first down. And again, we check in with Melissa.
Al, Bill Cowher said that the scuffle on the field in pregame warmups fired his players up more than anything he has ever seen. And he said this is as intense an atmosphere as I've ever been a part of as a head coach. Now, coming in offensively, he said the plan was to throw on early downs because he knew the Bucs defense would be playing the run. They may be up by 17, but the plan, keep throwing the ball down the field.
And Tommy Maddox has had the hot hand as the Steelers try to cement a spot in the playoffs in the division. You know, the Steelers at the beginning of the game, as this game begins, they could either be out of the playoffs, in the playoffs, and they could be the number 1 seed. If they win tonight, they win at home against Baltimore next week, and then Oakland were to lose to Kansas City on Saturday. The unlikely scenario would have Tennessee losing to Houston, but if that happened, the Steelers could be number 1.
Right, and this whole AFC is up for grabs, and some of these teams are starting to make a move. Those 2 top teams are Raiders and the Titans, and I think the Steelers are the 3rd team.
2nd and 7. And it's jammed in incomplete, intended for Jeremy Tillman. In the AFC, only 4 teams eliminated right now. Those teams need some help. Certain things have to happen. The Jets, Patriots, and Browns, those top 3 are in a better position considering everything that has to happen than the Broncos and the Chiefs. The Chargers are in real bad shape. They need a lot of stuff to happen, and the Ravens need a complete miracle.
Yeah, and I've found the teams that need a lot of help that aren't playing well at the end of the season, the team that gets in, they don't go very far anyway.
3rd down and 7. Gets dumped. Rondé Barber comes in from the secondary.
Rondé Barber timed that thing perfectly. You know, he was out on the slot, then he comes in, and then he hits just as the ball snapped, Rondé Barber hits a hole. Watch him come right here, time it up, get right in the gap, and just as the ball snapped, he goes in there sideways. And again, you know, because he was outside early, they didn't count him. And then he gets inside, and they should have audible out.
Tom Ruin's kick, fair catch called for. Carl Williams at the 28-yard line. 10:49 left, 3rd quarter. Tampa still trying to get it together offensively. 17-0. Steel City. regular season next week. The 49ers against the Rams in St. Louis. And that will wrap up the 33rd year of Monday Night Football. Bucks Bears in Champaign on ESPN Sunday night game. Funny thing about that Ram 49er game, and I better find something funny. I'll tell you about it in a second. I'm waiting for this one. As King throws a little too high and there's no flag. At the moment, if Tampa Bay were to win, they would cement at least the 1, 2, or 3 spot. But if they lose tonight and then go to Champaign, where it's going to be pretty cold next Sunday night, and lose, the 49ers could actually jump in front of Tampa Bay in the seeding and wind up as the 3 seed instead of 4. Which would mean, if that were to happen, just looking ahead, Tampa Bay would then have to play a wild card game at home, but then have to face most likely Philadelphia before Green Bay. I know I'm getting ahead of everything here with the flag down, but the bottom line is, among other things, if somehow San Francisco...
Prior to the ball being snapped, ball start offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
If San Fran were 3 and they knocked off 2, whether that was Philly or Green Bay, and then Tampa Bay advanced, and let's say Tampa Bay got into the NFC Championship game against San Francisco, the game would be in San Francisco.
Right, so the point is the 49ers have to win next Monday night against the Rams.
If
all these other things happen, the bottom line is the 49ers have to win.
Have to win to get the 3 seed if Tampa loses tonight, and they're down 17-zip, and loses in the Frost in Champaign next week. And it's not a given they beat the Bears. I mean, nothing's, as Allstott makes the catch, nothing is a given in the league this year. 0.
Oh, and this Tampa Bay offense is just having trouble getting back to the line of scrimmage. Remember Monty Clark, the old defensive or offensive line coach for years at Miami, and then the head coach at Detroit?
Mm-hmm.
He used to always say, when you'd say, "How you doing, Monty?" He'd say, "Just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage." That's what the Buccaneers are doing, just trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage.
So let's see if they can get a yard here. 3rd and 11. Nope, can't even do that. Monty Clark was right. Mike Logan is going to get at least part of this sack because he was the first guy in.
Mike Logan's having a big night. I mean, with his sacks and tackles behind the line of scrimmage, you'd think he was a linebacker or defensive lineman. Again, you see that they're bringing someone from the outside. Each time they get an overload, and they bring a corner from the outside and a safety inside him. Hank Poteet was the inside guy. Mike Logan was the outside guy.
A nickel back on the horse trailer? Oh, he's in the running, partially. Tupa's punt. 30-yard line, Antoine Randall. And last year's Indiana Hoosier is tackled at the 36-yard line. 9:23 left in the third. Steelers up by 17. Christmas Day doubleheader. Coverage starting 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 on the coast. Celtics next. Jason Kidd and company. Kings Lakers from Los Angeles. Second half of the doubleheader. The NBA back on ABC. Well, Rob Johnson has been throwing on the sideline.
I would expect he'll be in the next time the Bucks get the ball.
Yep. Here's Maddox faking right, throwing left, and then Bettis gets upended by Rondy Barber. John, I'd like to wish you a happy anniversary, but
not this one.
Bradshaw running out of the pocket, looking for somebody to throw to, fires it downfield. And there's a collision. It's caught out of the air. The ball is pulled in by Franco Harris. Harris is going for a touchdown for Pittsburgh.
The immaculate reception 30 years ago today as Tommy Maddox throws, and that's tipped and incomplete. 4th down play. Franco crosses the goal line with 5 seconds left, and the Steelers begin the dynasty.
Well, no, they didn't begin the dynasty then. I mean, let's get it straight. They didn't call it a touchdown. The officials talked in the end zone, like right down there, and the referee goes over to the dugout, talks to someone on the phone. 15 minutes later, after the play comes out, and says touchdown.
That's right.
Yes.
Your man Fred Swearingen.
But I'm not still. I'm somewhere you have to just give it up. But the only thing I say, it must have been a heck of a controversy at the time, because 30 years later, we're still talking about it.
You'll be in the deep divot before you give that one up.
Yes, I will.
This is Maddox throwing, and that's caught up at the 50-yard line by Plexico Burris.
Yeah, they talk about stuff that you get into your stocking at Christmas. I'll guarantee you that was the night before Christmas Eve, and that was a big old lump of coal. That big old lump of coal's been sitting down there for 30 years.
As much as you love to fly, that must have been some trip home that day.
I don't even remember that. Because the thing was, once the guy says touchdown, it's all over. I mean, the game's over, your season's over, everything over. You just go home. You can't say, well, give me another chance.
From the 50, first down. Bettis. And, speaking of anniversaries, there are also congratulatory messages and acknowledgments.
Hi, John. This is Franco. Happy 30th anniversary. It's amazing the mysteries still linger through all these years. But this is a season of giving and accepting. So, John, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you, Franco. And happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you and all yours and all the Steelers of yesteryear. And all the Steeler fans of yesteryear. And Dirk DiNardo.
And Frenchie. Bettis. That was, that's a funny thing about the Steelers. They've been around for a long time before. That was the first time they ever won a playoff game.
Yeah, and, as tough as that was, and I had a great deal of respect for the Pittsburgh Steelers of that era and for their coach, Chuck Noll, and most of all for their owner, Art Rooney. I mean, you talk about guys that built the league and, who's really the guy? Art Rooney is. He was a real deal. I mean, Art Rooney was just a great man.
And his son now, Dan, of course, runs the. There is Dan.
And as down as I was in that game, if there was anything to be happy for, it was for his dad.
And Dan very much carrying on the tradition of his father, the Rooney family.
Personal foul on number 47 of the defense.
Lynch.
Personal foul on number 37 of the offense. After the ball was dead, the foul was offset. Third down.
No, 37 maybe means Bettis. 36, yeah.
I'll tell you, remember when before the game Warren Sapp runs through the Pittsburgh Steeler warm-ups? It was Jerome Bettis that hit Sapp as he ran through there.
After the two has changed long-distance pleasantries and our tees tonight in the open. Third down and 5 from the 45. And that's dropped by Christopher Afala.
That's funny. Maybe the Steelers don't need it, but doesn't it seem like the offense they started and played in the first quarter was a lot better than what they've been doing in the second and third quarters?
1,000% at this point.
And probably, Tampa Bay's defense has a little to do with it, but if Tampa Bay is going to be in this game or get in this game, they're probably going to have to get a turnover. I mean, their defense is going to have to make a play, and not just stopping them, but a scoring-type play.
When the moisture flies, you know the tower is really exercised. And Ruin's punt. How's that for a little bit of spin back? So Tom Ruin, the longtime Bronco, cut by the Giants out on the street, comes in and kicks a beauty. Quarterback change. It's Rob Johnson who now comes in halfway through the third quarter. So King was 9 of 26, showing for 73 yards. One interception, run back for a touchdown. And now they go with the ex-Jaguar, next build, Rob Johnson. First pass complete. Keenan McCardell
as we look at Sean King, tonight wasn't his night. I mean, he had a couple runs, but he just started off, and you see this first pass, he hesitates just a little, holds it too long. Chad Scott picks it off and scores with it. This is about the only good things that Sean King did. Other than that, he just didn't have him. He wasn't timed up. He wasn't in any kind of rhythm, and never did get in any kind of rhythm.
And if you join us late, Brad Johnson, a bruised lower back, barely practiced this week. And so they had to go with King. Rob Johnson was the number 2 quarterback as Allstott picks up the first down. Rob was number 2 at the beginning of the season. In fact, he was given the opportunity when he came here to even win the number 1 job. But now he goes from the possible number 1 to number 2 down to number 3. And they've been talking about his potential, John, for 8 years.
And I think that sack thing, that he just takes too many sacks. I mean, and John Gruden, the West Coast offense, his offensive quarterback has to get back quickly, get the ball out of there. Rob Johnson tends to hold it a little too long, like that.
Right there. Perfect example for a guy who backed up Brunell when he came into the league, and everybody said, boy, this is the kind of guy with it. You know, you give him a chance, and Buffalo said, we'll give him a lot of money, and he spent 4 years in Buffalo, but started only 1 year.
See, on that 3-step drop, it has to come back a sharp 3-step drop. That was a sloppy 3-step drop, but it has to be booming. That 3rd step hits, and that ball has to come out. You see, he was in no position for that ball to come out.
I say he started only 1 year in Buffalo, 1 year in which he played the majority of the games. I mean, 11 starts in 2000, 8 starts last year, half the year. And apart from that, in single digits is Keyshawn Johnson. Takes it up to the 27-yard line, a little short of the first.
We were talking about the Steeler defense and their defensive game plan and how it was to rush Brad Johnson, and Brad Johnson didn't play tonight. And then Sean King got outside him a couple times because they lost containment. But now with Rob Johnson, they can go back to that. Although Rob Johnson can run better than Brad Johnson can. But if you want to sack, I mean, you're happy to see Rob Johnson in there playing quarterback.
And he picks up the first. So Keyshawn was able to move the chains with 4.5 left in the third.
I think if somehow the Buccaneers, whether their defense, special teams, or offense can get a score or two here, I wouldn't be surprised to see Brad Johnson in the 4th quarter. I think if there's this spread of 17 points, I wouldn't think there's any chance of seeing Brad Johnson. But if they get it close, I could see him in there.
From the 28-yard line. Rob Johnson, there he is again.
See, it's just that half a beat long. Yeah, I mean, he's always done that. He just holds the ball just a half a beat long and lets that pass rush get to him. I mean, if the ball is out of there just a split second before, he wouldn't have these sacks.
Aaron Smith.
And this is the thing that John Gruden was talking about, and that's why Sean King started. He said Rob Johnson just has too many negative plays. And this is one here. I mean, that ball either has to be out of there or you have to take off before that. Get it out or take off.
Aaron Smith, 91, the star of this drive. Both of his sacks coming on the drive. 2nd down and 13. Johnson throws, and looks like the immaculate reception for just a minute as McCardell and Deshae Townsend collide.
I tell you, these extra defensive backs have really done a good job. Townsend there. We've seen Mike Logan. We've seen Hank Poteet. You know, all those 5th, 6th, and 7th defensive backs for this Steeler defense have done a good job tonight.
3rd down and 13 from the 25-yard line.
They're in that defense right now. They have 6 defensive backs in there.
Gilden looked like he was tippy-toeing up, and then he backs off into coverage. And Johnson throws and finds his man, Keyshawn, over the middle. Keyshawn Johnson between the hash marks, and they convert on 3rd and long.
And that's what they've been doing to the Buccaneers all night, is getting them in these long yardage situations. They finally got it this time. Here's Logan again. We saw him up playing like a linebacker. They don't bring him. They overload from the left side and bring the blitz from the left side. But again, that time, Rob Johnson had plenty of time to find Keyshawn Johnson in the middle of the field.
Johnson to Johnson for 17 yards on a 3rd and 13. 3 minutes left in the third. Johnson stepping out, surveying, throws, caught near side by Joe Jaravicius, and that's a first down at the 37-yard line.
Yep, they caught Joey Porter going to the inside. He went inside of Roman Oben. Oben just takes him inside. Rob Johnson sees and feels that and gets right outside of Joey Porter. I think, again, Joey Porter has had no respect for the run to his side or the quarterback scrambling out to his side. Watch him right here. So he takes the inside right there. Now, right at that point, Rob Johnson has this corner.
Drive started at the 5-yard line. Rob Johnson's first of the night, first down here. Stepping up under pressure, another sack. That's 3 now since he's come into the game. Kimo von Oelhoffen gets this one.
Well, remember last year when these two teams played, it was Brad Johnson. They sacked him 10 times. In fact, both teams said that it could have been 15 or it could have been 20 sacks that night the way they were playing.
If you're a defensive player and you see Rob Johnson in the game, think of yourself as a Lion, he has to look like fresh meat.
Well, I mean, he does. I mean, that's the thing. And I think Brad Johnson probably did to this Steeler team, too.
2nd and 14. Hangs in there, throws, caught by Keyshawn, and he takes it to the 18-yard line.
And that time, by holding the ball, that bought Rob Johnson something then. I mean, he held it, he brought it down, and by doing that, he had pretty good protection, and he was able to come back to Keyshawn Johnson. Watch him, you see him bring it down, and then he turns from the right to the left, and Keyshawn Johnson was probably his 3rd read in that progression, because he went right, then he went middle, and he come back to the left.
From the 18-yard line. First down. And that is caught by Keyshawn to the 2. You know, it's such a strange thing statistically. If you get sacked, it counts against your passing yardage. If he throws a touchdown pass here, because of that, he will have thrown for 100 yards on this drive. 100.
Right, and the thing is they're just giving Keyshawn Johnson way too much room. You don't play that far off Keyshawn Johnson down here. This is the thing that John Gruden brought to this offense. They used to get in the red zone and they'd always run. And now, even Keyshawn was saying the other day, we'll get down here like this on the 2-yard line and we'll still throw the ball.
First and goal. Gets away, throws, and a little high, but at least he avoided the sack. Ricky Dudley is 88. And the pressure put on Aaron Smith, nearly had the hat trick in sacks.
Well, they brought Mike Allstein in to make him think it was run, and then to pack him in there and run the bootleg to get the outside. The Steelers did a good job of containing him on the bootleg. Warren Sapp was thinking, just get us one here. Now, Warren Sapp does come in and play offense on the goal line. That's the other reason he's up there. He plays the second tight end.
92 yards in the drive, but as we say, because of the sacks counting against the passing yardage, Johnson's thrown for 97 yards on this drive. 2nd down and goal. Drops the ball. Covered by the Steelers. Stripped by Casey Hampton. And so here they were on the verge of getting right back into it, and a gigantic play by Casey Hampton at the end of the 3rd quarter.
And who would think a nose tackle would make a play like that? But watch just Casey Hampton just right up here in the middle. He just goes right through Cozy Coleman.
And that too counts as a sack. Woo. Monday Night Football being brought to you by Michelob Light, the beer with a smooth taste and a nice finish. Office Depot, what you need to know. And Chrysler, drive equals love. Parade of boats here in the Tampa Bay area over the weekend.
One thing, they have great water here, don't they? I took a walk today, and I'll tell you, this is a very clean city. It's like there's someone sweeping all the time. Everything looks about the streets, the road, everything is about as clean as it can be.
Jerome Bettis picks up 2 to the 12, and that will be the end of the third quarter. Score is the same as it was at the end of the first quarter. Pittsburgh 17, Tampa Bay nothing. And Monday Night Football resumes after this from our ABC stations. Back in Tampa as we start the fourth quarter. Sports Center on ESPN will follow the game. Bring you up to date as Week 16 of the NFL season concludes. Al Michaels, John Madden, Melissa Stark, Tampa 17-0. Pittsburgh on top. And we begin with a second down and 8. Tommy Maddox flipping to Hines Ward. And he gets tackled by Brian Kelly. And a flag goes down for a face mask.
We were talking about this offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers and what a good job they've done. I mean, just think, you really haven't mentioned Simeon Rice's name too much, a Pro Bowl player, Warren Sapp, other than what he did in the pregame and stuff. His name hasn't been called. Greg Spires, the other defensive end. Chadwick Darby. I mean, they've really done a good job of blocking. How about Derek Brooks? I mean, they've gotten guys on all of this front seven of this Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense, and they just haven't let them run wild or crazy.
There's no foul on the play. The player grabbed the helmet and not the face mask. Second down.
Here someone says that's a bad call. Which one? The one where he called face mask, or the one that he said, I was just kidding when I called face mask?
Sounded like Maddox's voice.
We're talking about, again, that offensive line. Wayne Gandy out here, we just saw doing a good job on Simeon Rice. Because, and this is when he has to do the job right here. This is when Simeon Rice here is at his best, when you get third and long.
Maddox from the gun. It's lofted, and it's caught by Burris. And boy, has he come of age this year.
Didn't you just wonder when they were going to get back to that? That was the way they started the game in the first quarter, and then they went away from it, and you just feel that it's still there. That one was on Brian Kelly, and if you watch Plexico Burris, he's such a big guy and strong and so athletic. You can just throw a jump ball up there, and his percentage to get is probably 75%. And that's not a bad play right there.
6'5" going over the 5'11" Kelly, and it's a beautiful throw and a beautiful catch. And Plexico Burris, apart from the one game a couple of weeks ago where he dropped 4 or 5 balls against Houston and everything went wrong that day for Pittsburgh, he's been a Pro Bowl caliber ever since Maddox took over.
Well, and again, it's been that thing, we showed how much Maddox likes to throw to his left, although that one was to the right. But usually they go strong or an overload to the right. I mean, you have a tendency to go strong with your formations to the right. Put Plexico Burris on the left side or away from their offensive overload, get one-on-one, and that's where he's caught a lot of his passes.
A long pass plays for him, as you saw. 3 tonight of 20 or more yards. Second down and 7. And the Bucs will pick up some yardage and take some more time off the clock. Under 13 minutes, Brooks makes the hit.
Sometimes, that old zone dog where you drop defensive linemen stuff. The thing you want to do to that is to really run right at it. And that's exactly what the Steelers did on that play. What's Simeon Rice? You see, he's dropping out like it's a pass. And they run right at him. See, they caught him where the defensive lineman, instead of being a rusher, becomes a linebacker and run right at him. That's what you try and call into, or sometimes even luck into.
3rd and 2 from the 45. Take it to Burris. And then the pass is thrown into the arms of the linebacker Jason Gilvin, so it's 4th down.
One thing, either the Steeler offense has kind of calmed themselves down, or this Tampa Bay defense has calmed the offense down, because they haven't been able to put things together since that first quarter. But I think this Tampa Bay defense, if they're going to win, they're going to have to score some touchdowns.
Tampa Bay's offense self-destructing tonight. The fumble at the the 7-yard line, and then the sack and the fumble as the kick goes into the end zone. And the offense will now take over at the 20-yard line with Rob Johnson coming back out. The time running out.
And if you ever saw...
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black heel.
Can't think of two better coaches to satirize in that manner. Of course, John Gruden stands alone when it comes to facial contortions. And Cowher, of course, has had his moments.
Yeah, and Bill Cowher's been around for a long time. I mean, you think of how young he is, but I mean, and how long he's been coaching. He's brought that look here for many years.
He's the dean, longest tenured coach, and John Gruden is the youngest coach in the league at 39. It's already his 5th season, 4 in Oakland and now here.
Well, this isn't the offense tonight that they paid him for. Of course, he's playing it without his quarterback.
2nd down and 10 is Rob Johnson, who took over for Sean King. Gets sacked again, Joey Porter. That's 6 sacks tonight for Pittsburgh. 4 on Rob Johnson. Make it 5 now. 5.
Joey Porter finally got an inside and had a quarterback there. Every other time Joey Porter would take an inside, the quarterback was getting outside him. This time he's coming in, and you see him. He comes on a delay. He waits for the lineman to get up, and then he just waits until they all get blocked. You see, wait, now come. And when you have speed like Joey Porter does, you can make those kind of plays on delayed blitzing.
9 sacks on the season for Joey. 3rd down and 20 now. Johnson slings it to the outside, and that's caught, but it won't be a first down. 15 yards when they needed 20. Keenan McCardell tackled by Hank Poteet. So Tampa Bay 3 and out.
I know what John Gruden's thinking. We can't have those negative plays with this West Coast offense. You want those short, quick passes, run after the catch, and all those things. And there's really not a heck of a lot of plays in any offense for 3rd and long. But in this West Coast offense, they don't handle those situations well.
Here's Tom Tupa's 7th punt of the night. Let him go! Antoine Randall is back, and this is another low line drive that scoots out of bounds at about the 38-yard line. And the Steelers now have the ball, a 17-point lead, and 10:46 on the clock as they seek the AFC North title.
Christmas is a time to say I love you. Share the joys and laughter and good cheer. Christmas is a time to say I love you, and a feeling that'll last all through the year.
Tampa Bay area. This is the city of Tampa. Raymond James Stadium, ball to 38. The Steelers will start to work on the clock, and nobody to do that any better than the bus. And the bus takes the ball to the Tampa Bay 33-yard line.
And there's a flag back here, but did Wayne Faneca, the left guard, make a block on Warren Sapp? And that's the thing that Bill Cowher wanted to do, the Steelers wanted to do.
Number 72, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
And that's not number 66, but Faneca's the guy that made the block. We said that we hadn't heard much about Warren Sapp, and this is why right here. You see Faneca take him, stay with him, get him turned, and Jerome Bettis just ran right by him. Now the hold is on number 72, Jerry Gandy. See, he starts to the inside, and he just grabs Simeon Rice. Wayne Gandy. But Wayne Gandy's been doing a heck of a job blocking Simeon Rice. He didn't have to do that, and the block that Faneca put on Warren Sapp, that was the one that sprung Jerome Bettis. Sapp didn't even see him run by him.
They've been critical of Gandy in the couple of Pittsburgh papers recently, but tonight, good performance for him as Amos Zeroué takes the ball up to the 32-yard line. Mark Bulger, who, if he doesn't play next week, and it looks like he won't qualify as the passing champion, but right now he has the lead, the NFL average 80.9. And Tampa Bay's opponents this year, 47.5, a very low rating. They took care of McNabb. They took care of Warner. They took care of Michael Vick twice, and Brett Favre was held to a 36 pass rating. But tonight it's Tommy Maddox who's had the measure of that defense as he hits Hines Ward here for his 17th completion in 23 attempts for 236 yards.
You know, and from the start of the game, Tommy Maddox has looked comfortable. And again, the way to keep a quarterback comfortable is to keep him clean. And when you're playing on a grass field and you're wearing a white jersey and it's this clean in the fourth quarter, your offensive line has done a heck of a job protecting you.
3rd and 2 for Maddox, who went to UCLA. Not long after Troy Aikman left Westwood. #1 pick of Denver to back up Elway in 92.
Look at that jersey.
Yeah.
There's not a grass spot on it.
3rd and 2, and the former insurance salesman with a little pitch and then a toss forward to Zeroué. So a little toss to Randall L, and then Randall L flips it forward to Zeroué, and that's a first down.
That's the types of things you can do when you have a Randall L and you have a Hines Ward. You can do those option types of things. You know, he was a quarterback. And watch what they do is they just flip it to him. You see, they just flip it to him right here, and then he runs an option off it, just like an option quarterback would down the line. He could have kept that and got to the outside. If they come to get him, he just pitches it.
You saw there was a shot. We saw Cordell Stewart laughing in the background. He's enjoying it, even though Cordell's on the bench right now on 1st and 10 from the 46-yard line. And we'll talk about this little quarterback situation and what they do next year with the salaries and all that. But first, John, next year, Irving, Texas. Bill Parcells on the sidelines. What do you think? Any chance?
I think it's a possibility. I mean, I think it's something that Jerry Jones looked into. I think Bill Parcells was interested. They talked on an airplane in New Jersey for 5.5 hours. And I know Jerry doesn't want to be stood up there, and he doesn't want to be embarrassed. And so I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen quickly. I would think if it doesn't happen in the next 10 days, it's not going to happen. And if it is going to happen, it's going to happen probably a week from today or tomorrow.
Bettis? Parcells is like you. He doesn't like to fly, so when you say they talked on an airplane, let it be noted that that airplane was on the ground.
I would talk in that situation. Yeah, Jerry Jones flew his airplane into, what is it, Teterboro?
Into Teterboro Airport.
Yeah, and he was there, and then he just came and talked to him. And Jerry Jones doesn't want to go through what Malcolm Glazier went through last year, or what Hugh Culverhouse went through. And I think that's why he would put a deadline on it. If we're going to do this, let's go and do it. Let's not talk about it for a month or so or string anything out.
Well, Bill loves to be courted, and he's being courted right now.
By a guy who loves to court.
To flirt. 3rd down and 5 at the 41-yard line as Bettis rams forward to the 35. I think it would be a very formidable duo. I know Jerry comes in for a lot of stuff from a lot of people who don't know the guy. One thing about Jerry Jones always said is, no matter what you think of him, the man has 3 Super Bowl trophies, which is 3 more than a lot of other owners.
Yeah, and the thing about Jerry Jones, some idiot just ran on the field, and the police are going to nab him down there in the end zone, but they can't catch him now. But anyway, you know, I agree. I mean, Jerry Jones is a bright guy and he's a smart owner, and he has to turn this thing around. I mean, the Cowboys are going in the wrong direction, and they're just kind of falling apart, and something, I think they need a smack. I mean, something abrupt has to happen to them.
And nothing more abrupt than that. I mean, it's a team that needs to be revamped, obviously. They have a lot of questions to answer. What do you do with Emmitt Smith? Do you bring him back? Team getting older. 3 bad years in a row and all of that. And, you know, maybe, you know, Bill might have to come back for one last drink.
Right, and if he does, this isn't a bad place. I mean, I think that if you're going to work for someone, you would like an owner like a Jerry Jones who is involved, who does want to win, who will do anything to help you win, and then you could say, okay, you want to do anything to help me win? This is what we need. If you'll give it to me, I'll come. And I could see it happen. I could see it not happening. But again, I believe if it does, it's going to happen quickly or not at all.
Taking the fan off the field and ran out into the field. I thought Parcells said something very interesting listening to him on ESPN the other day about the fact that, Jones is a guy who wants to win. He said in a league where there's a lot of lip service paid to winning, where owners, of course the owner's going to say, I want to win, but there are owners that go all out to win, that do anything they can to win, and Jones falls into that category.
Yeah, and then there are owners on the other side that never do anything to win, and as long as they're owners, they probably never will win.
So they've taken care of the intruder. First and 10 at the 36-yard line. Pettis taken down by Brooks. Speaking of flirting, coming to ABC, 25 guys square off to win the Heart of the Bachelorette. That competition begins Wednesday, the 8th of January, right here on the American Broadcasting Company. Now, the Pittsburgh quarterback situation. Cordell Stewart will make $6.3 million next year. Does he restructure the deal or what? Tommy Maddox signed a deal last year, 5-year deal counting this season. He's making $525,000 this year. He'll make $650,000 next year, or about a tenth of what Cordell is due to make. Here's Bettis. So if you're the Steelers now, and Maddox leads you, deep into January, I mean, you've got to go with him next year. Then what do you do with Stewart?
I think you, as you say, you have to go with Tommy Maddox, and then I think you decide what to do with Cordell Stewart. I'm not sure, how it fits in. If it fits in and you can handle it in your salary cap, I would think that you keep him. I mean, I don't really believe in getting rid of a relatively young player until you have someone better to replace him. And I'm not talking about Tommy Maddox. I'm talking about another young or middle-aged quarterback, because it's tough out there, and it's tough to find these guys.
Third down and 10 at the 36-yard line. Bettis to the 32. More on Cordell. Melissa?
He's really kept his mouth shut this year. He's been a model citizen, but I had a long chat with him yesterday to find out how he's really feeling about going from the Pro Bowl last year to the bench this season. And he felt like he wasn't given a fair chance to play through his early season struggles. And he said that if he made some of the mistakes that Tommy Maddox has made, he would be benched for it. And as you just mentioned, he is under contract with the Steelers next year, but he hopes that they'll allow him after the season to talk to other teams to see if a trade can be worked out. Because he said, I am a starter. I'm not a backup.
You're right. This year he's been really cool about the whole thing.
Well, you have to be, especially when your team's winning.
On fourth down, they're going to go for it. Let's shoot a field goal opportunity. And Jerome Bettis is stopped short, so Tampa Bay is going to get it back, but only 3:34 on the clock. 17-0 Steelers. One very funny dude. Very funny. From the 33-yard line, Tampa Bay with Rob Johnson throwing, and that caught up at the 38, and they've got to go without a huddle right now, hauled in by McCardell. Short gain. Dwayne Washington thinks he has a piece of the ball, but
Dwayne Washington just trying to hold him down so he can't jump up to get on the line of scrimmage for the no huddle.
Second down and 5, 38-yard line. Rob Johnson swings it over the middle. Keyshawn, he's made almost every catch between the hash marks tonight. He's been living there, and Keys caught 7 for 114 yards.
Well, early when they were pressing him, he wasn't getting open, and now that the Steeler defense is playing a little soft, then there are some of these things underneath like this.
McCardell to the 43. Tell you who's loving this right now, Mike Sherman. Because the Green Bay Packers at the end of this game are going to be in the number 2 position instead of number 3. And believe me, if you follow football, that is a gigantic difference. The number 2 team has a week off and a home game and then just one road game to get to the Super Bowl. The number 3 team, no week off, home wild card, and then you go on the road. And these guys right now, the Bucs, are looking at a wild card game here and then to either Philadelphia or Green Bay, and then probably to the other. And we'll probably have to win in both places to get to San Diego.
And they have a tough time. You know, that cold weather thing, it really is a deal for them. And the other thing is, you know, how bad is Brad Johnson? I mean, is this just a one-game thing? Will he come back and be 100%? When will he come back and be 100%? Because this offense is about Brad Johnson, and we can see without Brad Johnson what this offense is.
Flowers almost had the pick off the deflection. So Philly and Green Bay, the division leaders. Philly would have the tiebreaker. They'd be number 1. Green Bay 2. Tampa Bay with a loss tonight 3. San Francisco 4. Then Atlanta, if they win, they're in. The Giants, if they win, they are in. And New Orleans needs help. New Orleans needs to win and have one of the other teams lose next week. So will Johnson come back next week in Champaign? And again, as we said, the Bucs with Rob Johnson taking off and picking up the first down are in danger if they lose next Sunday night in Champaign of dropping as low as number 4. That still gives you a home game in the playoffs, but a tough road to San Diego. 2-minute warning. So here are the Bucs now at the 38-yard line. 17-0. Pittsburgh trying to pitch a shutout. Pittman. It's a funny kind of shutout because they took a 50-yard Gramatica field goal off the board. So at one point tonight, Tampa had 3 points, but not often does a team get shut out, especially this late in the season, and go on to win a Super Bowl. But it did happen once.
When was that?
Well, you were a part of it. 2nd down and 6. As Johnson throws incomplete. In fact, the only team to get shut out and go on to win a Super Bowl, the Pittsburgh Steelers, back in the 70s.
So where was I part of it?
Because you were the guy that shut him out.
Oh.
In 74. Lost 17-0 to Madden's Raiders. Minute and a half to go. They make up these hats for champions to be, and those will be broken out in short order here as Johnson throws from a Cardell, and there's no flag. Incomplete. And we can tell you that Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. Fidelity Investments, because you're not just invested, you're personally invested. And Norelco put it to the test. We talked about the NFC and what's going to happen here at Tampa Bay and the tougher road that they now have. Bill Cowher, with this win, still has a chance for the number 1 seed, still has a chance for the number 2 seed in the AFC. It could be 3 or he could be 4, but he still has a chance to get the bye. To be number 1, he'd have to win next week against Baltimore. Oakland would have to lose Saturday to Kansas City. And then Tennessee would have to lose to the Texans. Not likely, but
I think the thing is who's playing well, who's peaking as they go into the playoffs. I think that's what Pittsburgh is doing. I also think that's what Oakland's doing. I also think that's what Tennessee's doing.
Right now, no question. And that is caught by Keyshawn Johnson for the touchdown. So it takes them 58 minutes, 46 seconds, but they finally get in to Keyshawn. 18 yards.
That's the old definition of probably too much too late. You can just see, I mean, you get a touchdown on one hand, you want to be happy and say this is what we want to do, and the other hand is, why didn't we do this in an hour and a half or 2 hours ago? Here again, you see they get caught inside on the rush, and Rob Johnson is able to get to the outside. Keyshawn Johnson just works the back of the end zone.
Martin Gramatica for the point after. And now the onside kick will come. Set up by a roughing the passer call because Aaron Smith cost his team 15. And then at 1st and 10 at the 18, they get into the end zone. But Tampa Bay, they'll think about this one. They'll think about giving up 17 points early in the game as the aerial coverage is provided by Southwest Airlines. They'll think about those 2 fumbles deep in Pittsburgh territory.
Yeah, and the other thing they'll think about is John Gruden likes to use the word juice. You know, that this player has juice, that guy has juice. I don't think his players had enough juice tonight. I think it happened early on. I think that the Steelers come out here right off the bat and punched them, and I think the Steelers had the juice, and I don't think the Buccaneers had it, and then the Steelers got enough of a lead that they lost the juice battle. And the other thing is they lose the talking battle, you know, because, you know, that whole thing about paper champions, Leaf, Warren Sapp and all that stuff. Now the Steelers, after this one, they get to talk again.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, when you lose a little more than just a game. I mean, you lose some confidence. You lose the ability to be the talker. So Lee Flowers, I'm sure, is going to have something to say like, I told you those guys are paper champions.
And he can talk for a while because the way the schedule works now, it's not like the randomness of the past where you never know who you'd face. It'll probably be a while before Pittsburgh sees Tampa Bay again unless it's in a Super Bowl. Here comes the onside kick. Goes out of bounds before it gets to the 40-yard line.
You know, and sometimes I've always hated when I was coaching. I didn't like the week that the Pro Bowl was announced because you always got that who should have been on, who got on, who didn't get on, and that kind of takes up, I always felt, too much of the conversation. I think maybe there's a little of that with Tampa. I mean, they had all that conversation about Pro Bowl,
Illegal
who's in and not.
By the kicking team before the ball went 10 yards. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll re-kick.
And you know, I mean, they talk about that, and then they clinched their division yesterday, and then you just wonder maybe that's why they didn't have the juice that they need to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers team.
Yeah, the only team I think it helped was Tennessee because they said, hey, we didn't get anybody on the Pro Bowl team. Watch this.
Yeah, they didn't have anything to talk about.
Right.
You know, the only thing is who should have been, and they didn't do that. Yeah.
Well, there it is right now. As you saw, the top 3 teams at the moment, with the East still up for grabs, and that's going to be determined this weekend, of course, with the Miami-New England game and the Jets playing Green Bay. The Jets-Green Bay game has ramifications on both sides. That's why it's always beautiful at the end of the season to have an interconference game on the last weekend of the year, especially on a Monday night, but that's another story.
That's what I've always said, too.
Yeah, unbelievable. That will be in St. Louis next week for the Rams and 49ers. Okay, this is Gramatica again kicking off. And Dwayne Washington will take this one for Pittsburgh. John, we're going to break new ground tonight.
Yeah, but now we're talking horse trailer.
Well, there it is. The Bucs earlier this year had a trio. Tommy Maddox was the horse trailer guy with the Indianapolis victory. And Ricky Williams, Steve McNair. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen,
This is one that I've always wanted. You know, I've always said, let's get some big old linemen on these things. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be the quarterback and the running back and the wide receiver. You know, how about some offensive linemen? Why not?
So when you put an offensive lineman on, especially in a situation like this, you got to put the whole group out there.
That's what I think, because they have to work as a group. With all the stunts and all the things that they do, and if they don't work as a group, no one guy can do it. And I think this group, the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, did a great job as a group tonight.
Wayne Gandy, Alan Faneca, Jeff Hardings, Kendall Simmons, Marvell Smith. You have 4 number-1 draft choices, and Smith is the number 2. Russ Grimm, one of the Hogs, is the offensive line coach. He'll be very happy to know that his boys are up on the trailer.
I'd like to put old Russ on there too. I mean, Russ
on there.
He was a great player. I mean, of all time, he's one of my all-time great guys that I thought was a player and a guy. And those Washington Redskin teams and the Hogs and that counter tray and big old Russ pulling and he was just a lot of fun. And he's still a very bright guy and a heck of an offensive line coach.
Maddox to Banks. Also, the best supporting actor, Mike Logan. I mean, not often does a nickelback get very serious consideration for the trailer, but Mike, we were thinking about you, man. 3 tackles, 2 passes defense, the sack, broke free a lot, came up the middle, pressure. Good job by Logan tonight.
No, you were. I think that was your guy. I think it was just one thing you probably would have said, just one guy that probably would have taken Logan, and that would be good too. I mean, and it's not about all-star. When we talk about the horse trailer, we take them all, and you gotta have nickel backs and dime backs, and you gotta have guys that'll block. You need those big old hogs and stuff.
Yeah, well, I just think with all these stars, I mean, Jerry Rice is up there, and you get all of the quarterbacks and McNair. Then we would go, who's that? Yeah.
Well, we need those other guys that that make this game possible, that make it a game, that let those guys do what they do.
That is on 3rd and 1. And appears to have the first down. That's for winning the AFC North. That doesn't feel that bad when it's 64 degrees.
No, it doesn't. And when you win, and I'll tell you that one of the things that I've always respected about Bill Cowher is his players respect him, but even more importantly, he really respects his players.
Still a young man in his mid-40s. He's the dean in the 4 major North American pro sports. Only Bobby Cox, the Braves manager, and Jerry Sloan, the Utah Jazz coach, have been around longer than Bill Cowher in their current jobs. Lee Flowers, he can smile because Pittsburgh doesn't meet Tampa Bay again until 2006. So he can yak and yak and yak for the next 4 years. 17-7 Pittsburgh. Steelers clinch the AFC North, go to the playoffs again. Jerome Bettis, a big part of the story tonight. And the bus is with Melissa.
And of course, a big congratulations in order. Got a little gift for you here.
Thank you.
After the way you guys started the season, you 0-2, a lot of people, a lot of questions because there were so many expectations coming into the season. Did you think you'd be at this point? How good does it feel?
Well, it feels great, first of all. And we knew that we had a team to get here. It was just a matter of us, not making the mental mistakes. We put the ball on the ground too many times and we beat ourselves.
You guys carved up the #1 defense in the NFL tonight. How'd you do it?
Well, it was just a matter of who was a bigger bully. They said they were waiting a full year for this. We beat them up down here last year, and they said they were waiting a year for it. And we said, hey, we'll see who's a bigger bully. We came out here and bullied them and showed them that we're the baddest on the block.
Talk about being a bully. Before the game and pregame warm-ups, you and Warren Sapp got into it a little bit. What happened?
Well, it's just, last year they kind of walked all over the field in our warm-ups, and so we wanted to come out here and let them know that there was going to be no intimidation. We felt we were the baddest bullies, and we just wanted to let them know that we're coming in their house and we're going to bully them around.
This team, you're obviously headed to the playoffs. What are some areas of concern that you guys need to shore up before you get in there?
Well, first and foremost, it's health. I mean, we're kind of banged up. Chad Scott broke his hand a little bit this game, and so we just been beat up. We got to get healthy and get ready for the playoffs.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it for the hat.
All right, well, the Steelers are headed to the playoffs for the 8th time in Bill Cowher's 11 years in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's amazing, Melissa, as you say, the way they started on a Monday night, looking terrible against New England, looking terrible the next week against Oakland. But here they are going to postseason play. Next week we go to St. Louis, the Rams hosting the San Francisco 49ers. Gang, have a great Christmas, and stay tuned now for your late local news on the West Coast, a special edition of Monk. Al Michaels, John Madden, and Melissa Stark saying so long from Tampa.